us what we can expect. And, of course, we can't get enough of all things Minions around here, so we're going to show you our chat with Steve Carell. And then later, we're honoring the legendary Harrison Ford as he celebrates his 80th birthday. We've got a cool throwback selection that you're going to definitely want to see coming up in a little bit as well. It's Harrison Ford talking about Star Wars when he was here back in 1977. All that coming up, but first, here's today's Pop Start headlines. We're going to start with a great story. No, we're going right here. Here you go. Taylor Hawkins. This is an incredible video I'm about to show you. The late drummer received a very, very special tribute during a recent Laguna Beach, California block party. That's because Taylor Hawkins' 16-year-old son, Shane, honored his dad, Foo Fighter drummer, with a cover of the band's emotional anthem, My Hero. Shane played with the California-based rock band The Alive. This was during a 4th of July party out there on the West Coast. And new videos from that show are going viral. Take a look. I mean, that's a pretty cool moment there, seeing Shane, 16, rocking out on the drum kit, especially to that song, There Goes My Hero, in honor of his dad. Next up, Tanya Tucker, the country music icon, getting the Hollywood treatment in a new documentary called The Return of Tanya Tucker. Fellow Grammy winner Brandi Carlile is executive producing the project, which premiered at this year's South by Southwest Film Festival. And a new teaser for the documentary is giving a sneak peek at how Carlile pushed Tanya back into the spotlight for a monumental career comeback.
I have loved Tanya Tucker since I was 8 years old. Here we go. Tanya's voice is in all of us that sing country music. And it's time for us to do an about face and recognize that.
Randy. Hi, I feel like I know you.
I want this record to be a renaissance period in her life.
Oh, I love that song. I'm getting chills on my legs.
It's about the influence that you've had, young people and their longing for understanding where their music came from.
To be able to leave behind something. And I guess music is, you know, the gift I have.
I mean, I don't know Tanya's story, but that documentary, that teaser does it for me. I'm interested in that. I want to know more about it.
I think every young country music star will point to Tanya Tucker and say it's because of her.
Yeah.
She's that person.
Well, that is cool. The Return of Tanya Tucker is expected to hit theaters this fall. We'll get to hear more about that when the one and only Brandi Carlile stops by our plaza for the summer concert series. That is coming up in September. More on that a little bit later, but there you can put it on the calendar. Next up, Stranger Things. Fans of the latest season continue to rock the Billboard charts with the show's 80s soundtrack. Thanks to the final episode, Volume 2, this metal classic has gone to the top of the charts. Budweiser, and then I smashed the can on my head, going back to...
It's like Headbangers Ball here.
My 13-year-old son, we were on vacation last week. He spent most of it binge-watching Stranger Things to get to this finale. He's got Kate Bush on his soundtrack.
Oh, I like that.
That song, that's the title track to Metallica's Master of Puppets. That's a record. It came out in March of '86.
And what's happening to it?
And now the young people are like,
they love it.
See, we're up to the 80s. Carson, Metallica's best song or second best song? Master of Puppets, what do you think?
I would say, I couldn't answer that. I'd say best song because...
Well, ask Hoda, she loves heavy metal.
I
mean,
Sandman
Slayer,
better,
Metallica, Iron Maiden,
I love
she loves
every
it.
genre.
Wait, hold on. Here's the numbers on it.
Okay.
Since the new episode came out, let's just give you a little bit of episodes. Less than 2 weeks ago, streams for that song, Master of Puppets, have gone up 650%, according to Illuminate data. It's a 36-year-old track, as we've established. It sits in the top 50 on Apple Music and number 8 on Spotify.
Wow.
Just Hoda listens.
Meanwhile, that Kate Bush ballad, still holding strong on both music streamers' top 10 list. Season 4 of Stranger Things is only the second series in Netflix history to ever surpass the 1 billion-hour streaming mark. So rock on, Hawkins.
I love that Kate Bush song.
I love that young kids are getting exposed to this was.
Oh, yeah.
Me too. I don't know how to sit on this couch. Do you?
Quickly, Billy Joel. Speaking of 80s rock legends, over the weekend, Joel gave some fans in Detroit a nice surprise. The Piano Man brought out Def Leppard's. We are going back.
Def Leppard?
Def Leppard.
Oh, I used to love
Joe
Def
Elliott.
Leppard.
Def Leppard.
Pour some sugar on
They
me.
go way back. Yes, that's what they did.
Al, come on.
On Saturday, Billy Joel sat at the keys and they did Pour Some Sugar on Me.
No way.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's a good song. It is. Chorus. Here it comes. We got to get to the chorus. We have to get to the chorus.
Oh, no, we're going to lose
I
it.
guess
No,
That's it.
Come on.
here it comes. Wait. Pour some sugar on me.
See, I knew you had a headbanger inside you somewhere.
Maybe late 80s.
Yeah, late 80s,
Either
so
way,
good.
a Camaro was involved.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
Cranking it.
That's it.
Carson, that was outstanding.
It was like TRL.
That's outstanding.
All right, good night,
Like,
everybody.
Hey, don't get your feet on that couch.
nobody knows.
And now to the reason we call the show Pop Star Plus. Just a few more headlines for you, and we'll start with Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. The Jurassic stars are sharing all the feels as the press tour for their latest film comes to an end. Chris and Bryce have co-starred in all three of the new Jurassic World movies since the franchise was brought back in 2015. Just yesterday, Pratt posted a series of photos alongside his on-screen buddy, Bryce, writing very kindly in the caption, "You've been by my side through this crazy ride for over 8 years, and I wouldn't have it any other way. 8 extraordinary years, 3 fantastic films. It's been such an honor sharing this journey with you." And you can check out that dynamic duo, of course, in Jurassic World Dominion. That is playing in theaters now from our sister company, Universal Pictures. And finally, Paradise Highway. Morgan Freeman is headed back to the big screen in this dark thriller. In it, Morgan plays an FBI agent investigating human trafficking, where he crosses paths with one truck driver being blackmailed into the business. Here's a look.
Where's the package? You don't understand. I don't take people.
No way I can promise what'll happen to your brother if you don't take the girl where she needs to go.
You're driving.
You're not suggesting we go analog to every truck stop.
You wanted field work. This is the field.
It was a girl, Dennis.
What do you mean?
The package was a girl.
What? What happened?
We're in this together.
See, I would watch that now just because of that little thing I just showed you. Never heard of it. Now I'm going to watch it. Morgan Freeman in Paradise Highway. That hits theaters July 29th. All right, that's the latest you're going to need to know for today. Still coming up, Friday Night Lights star Taylor Kitsch breaks down his latest action-packed series.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Allie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Uvalde, Texas, a small town that has become yet another landmark. How long do you think it took for all this damage to occur? Can you tell us what it was like? With our NBC News exclusive. It was Lester. Who's this?
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
Welcome back. The Terminalist explores the twists and turns that unfold when a Navy SEAL, played by Chris Pratt, returns home from battle. Taylor Kitsch plays Ben Edwards, a friend to Pratt's character, James Reese, and helps figure out how a mission might have been set up to fail. He spoke to us about the high-stakes drama that ensues.
Investigations are still ongoing into the failures of Operation Odin Sword.
Failed missions resulted in the death of 12 Navy SEALs.
The Terminal List is from a book written by Jack Carr, who is a Navy SEAL, and it's a psychological thriller, character-driven with incredible action that can be very leading and or misleading.
Want to tell me what happened? Somebody fed us bad intel. It's a setup.
Ben Edwards is a guy born and raised on the beach in Venice, California. He plays the best friend of Chris Pratt's character, James Reese. And they both went through BUD/S training together, Navy SEAL training, and both fought overseas together. And he is a guy who basically facilitates the revenge and redemption that James Reese is searching for. And that brotherhood that these two guys share kind of is what drives this whole show.
Whoever set us up,
They might be able to fake evidence they can't fake Boozer.
Could have assets killing SEALs in Coronado. That's what you're telling me.
someone does.
These are guys that are brothers in arms, you know, that go through something that is quite literally unrelatable on so many levels. So, you know, Pratt and I set out to have that throughout the whole show and to work on that through the whole show and to show different colors. And maybe when you think it would go dark, that these guys check in with each other through levity, which Ben does a ton, which was fun to play.
Answers or blood?
Blood. SEALs or anybody in the military, it's not paint by numbers. These men and women are very different. They come all shapes, all sizes, all different personalities, all different backgrounds. So to kind of do a deep dive into Ben was a lot of fun. You know, there is that laid back quality, but there's also a guy that would be relentlessly violent. And I love playing that dichotomy. And it's a guy you can walk by on Venice Beach and be like, it's just another surfer. But at the same time, you just definitely don't want to cross them. And that's fun to play. It all started from the first Zoom. If you don't have that chemistry, it's just the show literally is not going to work, because it really does rely on this relationship all the way to the last beat. Obviously, Pratt does a lot of the heavy lifting. He's an egoless guy, you know, look, he's on fire right now. He's one of the biggest movie stars on the planet, and you can't really argue that. So to come into this and to serve that story with him has been a blast. You know, he's very easy to get along with, no ego, and he was just all for taking risks and throwing improv and kind of just playing around and throwing curveballs to each other. On FNL, sometimes on the bigger films or something that has a bigger microscope, they don't promote risk. They play a lot safer. And I'll take that with me for my whole career, to take the risks and to find that truth and authenticity. So that taught me a lot, you know, and to be loose, man. That's when you're at your best. So that was a springboard to the career.
This is personal.
I mean, this is a fictional story, psychological thriller. I guarantee you won't see it coming. The twists and turns and the leading to misleading. I think you're going to be entertained, man. I think you're going to be enveloped by the action in this story. It's got a very strong heartbeat, most importantly. And I think it's going to be hard not to binge it.
And a big thanks to Taylor for spending some time with us. That looks good. The Terminal List is available on Prime Video now. Coming up next, Steve Carell's visit here on Today about the latest in the Minions world.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? Her name is Lester. Hey, who's this?
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
The midterms are here. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about for the primary or general election, and you'll instantly get voting rules, see the next big deadline, and learn how to take action for your plan. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for 2022. Visit NBCnews.com/plan your vote today.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
And welcome back to Popstar Plus. Who doesn't love the Minions? If you haven't heard, the latest installment of the Despicable Me franchise snagged an Independence Day 4-day opening record, brought in more than $125 million at the box office. So here's our recent chat with the man who plays Gru himself, the great Steve Carell.
Check it out, our plaza has been taken over. We've been minionized and we love it. But what are they without the big boss himself, Gru? And we are joined now by Steve Carell, who returns as the supervillain in Minions: The Rise of Gru. But this time, Gru is 11 3/4 years old and just meeting our yellow friends for the very first time. Take a look.
When you guys tracked me down and responded to my help wanted ad, I was like, who are these tiny tater tots? And where did they get so much denim?
Steve Carell, good morning.
Good morning.
We meet again.
I know.
Can you believe that this has had such staying power? It started with Despicable 1, then 2, then the Minions movie. This is, I think, is this the 5th in the franchise?
Yes.
Would you have ever thought this would be the one?
Not until I saw the first one.
Yeah.
Honestly, because it takes like a year and a half, 2 years to do the voice and, you know, all the animation. They animate to the voice. And I thought it's a good script. It's really fun. I love the people involved. But then when you see the final product and what the animators and directors, producers do to it, incredible.
When they first were like, we're gonna have these little yellow guys, they wear denim overalls, they've like, some of them have one eye, they speak a language no one can understand, but everybody kind of understands. Were you like, oh, that's gonna be a hit?
Exactly. Yeah, I was like, well, good luck. Good luck with those Minions. That's an ace idea. And yeah, they were geniuses.
Is it the Minions that is the secret to the success, or let's be honest, is it Gru?
It's Gru.
Yes.
It's mostly Gru, I think. No, the Minions, and they've been described as Twinkies or tater tots, little pills. You know, it's sort of incomprehensible to me that it became what it became. But people love them, and I think it's because they're equal parts obnoxious and endearing.
They are, and mischievous. I mean, I love them. That's the funny thing about it. It's like grown-ups like these movies too. You were telling me even your kids who are now young adults wanted to come to the premiere.
Oh yeah, yeah, they were so excited. And my son, after the premiere, pulled me aside and said, Dad, seriously, you know, all kidding aside about this, you know, in a kid's movie, he's like, it was really good. Like, and I love it, because he's an aspiring film student. He's like, I love the shots, I love the composition, you know, all of the editing, the timing. Like, he really was into the movie as a movie. And it was fun to see. The first one came out when he was like 4 or 5, and now he's 18, and so he has an appreciation in a different way.
That's high praise, especially from a teenager.
Yeah.
Like, just to say anything nice about anything a parent is involved in.
Yeah.
Like, good on you. So let's talk. This is Gru's origin story.
Yeah.
I love that it takes place in the 70s because that's just a magical template for them to work on. The outfits, the cost, the music, all of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the music. I mean, it's all a big part of what's the nostalgia of it. I think is what's going to appeal to the adults. There is one joke in it about the length of time it takes to dial a rotary phone.
Yes.
That's maybe one of my favorite parts of the movie.
It's incredible. Gru is 11 3/4 years old, which made me think about you in the 70s at 11 3/4 years old.
Yeah.
What kind of kid were you?
Well, I was really cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like no nerdy, anything?
No. I had it all dialed in.
Were you a bully kind of too?
No.
Just kidding.
No, I had I had long hair.
Yeah.
And we called them flares.
Oh, like bell bottoms?
They were bell bottoms,
Yeah.
I had like purple striped ones. So I was kind of rocking the look. Remember Fry boots?
Yeah,
I used to wear Fry boots.
Oh yeah, and were you like a ladies' man? Did the other fifth graders just like you?
Clearly, and still am.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I know. Other than you've been married for like 50 years. How many years have you been married?
Right. We've been married 50 years.
I know, which is odd because you're 60.
27.
I know. Oh, 27 years. I know. Your beautiful wife, your kids. I was thinking about though, like you really got big. You were in your late 30s, almost 40. And I was just thinking about that's a long time to be trying to make it big, to be a journeyman in this business.
Well, I wasn't really trying to make it big. I just journeyman was great for me.
Yeah.
I was happy making a living. That was the aspiration, just to make a living at acting, and the rest of it was just sort of gravy, really.
What's the best job you ever had? We just had Kevin Ford on. He didn't miss a shift in 27 years, which is so sweet. What's of all your jobs that you've had?
The worst one pops to mind.
Oh, what?
I worked in the produce department of a supermarket.
Oh.
And I had to wrap fruit in cellophane.
Oh.
I don't know why they did it at that point. To keep it fresh, I guess?
It was the 70s.
Yeah. Exactly.
You were 11 3/4.
Yeah, that was a tricky time.
Yeah, and the boxes get all soggy there in the produce department. I know.
And I was terrible at it. At one point, I was stocking popcorn on the shelves, and I accidentally poked a hole in the bag. So I took one of the labelers to put the price tags on, and I sealed up the hole with like 18 prices. And then my manager said, "What's this?" And he peeled it off and popcorn over the floor.
Clean up aisle 5.
Yep. That's exactly right.
Thank you so much. It's good to see you. The movie is a delight. And it's because of you, Gru. It's your origin story. It's all about Gru.
You're just saying that.
No, I'm not. I love you, Gru. And I love the Minions. It's from our parent company, NBC Universal and Illumination. But we'd be saying this no matter what, because it's a fabulous movie and the kids will love it. Thank you.
Thanks.
And of course, we should mention that Minions: The Rise of Gru is from our parent company, NBC Universal and Illumination Entertainment. All right, coming up, Harrison Ford talks adjusting to fame during his first Star Wars days.
Women's basketball has been systematically held back. After 49 years of Title IX, we still have work to do.
In Their Court, a podcast from NBC News and NBC Sports that goes inside the issues of inequality in women's sports. Listen now.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
Uvalde, Texas, a small town that has become yet another landmark.
How long do you think it took for all this damage to occur? Can you tell us what it was like?
With our NBC News exclusive. Ms. Lester,
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Welcome back, guys. The totally terrific Harrison Ford, the legend. He turns 80 years young this week, and we thought we got to honor him. So we went into our vault and found this clip. This is of Harrison Ford back in 1977 on our show talking about Star Wars as the film was being released alongside his co-stars Mark Hamill and, of course, the late, great Carrie Fisher.
With me are 3 stars of Star Wars. Carrie Fisher, who plays the princess,
Mark Hamill, who plays the innocent and brave young hero, and Harrison Ford, the only movie actor named after two presidents, who is the dashing, daring space pilot who helps them all escape from danger. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Is that nice to be named after two presidents?
It's never come up before.
Well, they're two of the most famous presidents in American history.
I'm gratified.
Carrie, did you like playing? This is your first lead, your first princess, your first lead part.
Yes, it is.
Did you like doing it?
A lot. We had a lot of fun doing it.
Isn't it different from anything you're likely ever to do again? Because isn't most of the background put in afterwards, or all these process shots and animation? What did you play against very often, you three? Were you in blank studios where they put the background in later?
Yeah.
Blue screen mostly. But the thing that...
You mean a big blank blue screen?
Yeah, it looked like a big movie screen that was tinted blue. The thing is, it wasn't any more difficult to imagine gigantic spaceships coming through than it is to drive in a mock-up car where you're being pulled by a truck and there's where you're supposed to see road and there's a camera crew and somebody doing the crossword and variety, board, you know, so it's all just using your imagination.
I have not seen, with the exception of Rocky, in the last few years, the kind of audience participation and audience reaction for and to a film that we have for Star Wars.
It's great to sit in a theater and see people really enjoy something like that.
Have you done it? Have you been?
Yeah.
Any of you, have you gone to see a theater just anonymously, just go in as a patron?
It's easy to be anonymous at this point, really. Nobody recognizes us when we go into a theater, which is a pleasure, I must say.
Nobody recognizes you?
Just one guy who'd seen it 12 times, and he
What was
asked
his
me
reaction?
out.
He asked you out?
Yeah. The princess. No, I first told him that I was the prize, that the 20th Century Fox office had heard he'd seen it 12 times, and he got a free date with the princess and a bucket of popcorn.
Punch, did you
but he believed me.
How'd you get this role?
Mafia. It's a lot about mafia, this film.
No. How did you really get this role?
Well, George was seeing everybody that could walk into the office, so I could do that. And I tested for it, and they mailed the test over to George, who was scouting locations in London, and I got it.
She's hired by mail, you see.
How do you do audition for a film in which most of your acting is in front of a blue screen?
Unbelievable the way this came about. I wish I could say I walked in and he said, "There's Luke Skywalker." I walked in, George was having joint interviews with Brian De Palma, who was casting Carrie. Every 5 minutes there was another person waiting just to talk, and I never saw a script. I got 5 pages after that initial meeting in the mail. They said, memorize it, show up, you're going to test with this guy. And believe me, I said, it was never that George Lucas ever said, well, this is what we're going to do. This is kind of he said, let's just do it.
And you knew George Lucas because you were in one of his other big hits, American Graffiti, and very good in that, I must say. You've been in 2 enormous popular successes. American Graffiti is one of the top 25 money makers, and this is going to be sky high, you should pardon the expression. You 3 are young actors and actresses, and you worked with one of the superb actors of our time, Alec Guinness. What was it like to work with that kind of a master, just like Olivier?
I was shaking when I first met him, and he came to the lobby of the hotel I was staying at so that we could have lunch and get to know each other. And he's very shy. Took a while to get to know him, but as he loosens up, he's everything you would want. He is generous. He wants you to look good. He's humble to almost to the point of being annoying. You can't talk about Bridge on the River Kwai. No, let's talk about your career. So you figure, what should I tell him about a soap opera I was on or what?
Was he like that with you, Harrison Ford?
Yeah. He spent the first half hour of our acquaintanceship trying to get me a flat, on the telephone trying to get me a flat. He's enormously generous.
Wow, what a gem we found right there in that time capsule. Glad we could play that video for you on this when we celebrate Mr. Harrison Ford's 80th birthday. So there you go, happy birthday. And that's going to do it for today's Pop Star Plus. As always, thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow we're going to have another great episode for you. So come on back and see us. So long.
A new study out first on Today shows a surprising trend in the way Americans are thinking about weight loss. Getting healthier is the prime motivation. The Mayo Clinic diet study found that 83% surveyed wanted to lose weight for their health, with 5 times those surveyed reporting it wasn't about their looks. Researchers say this is a seismic shift from the past where appearance was a key motivator.
We think there may be a new movement on focusing on improving health.
The study found that being intrinsically motivated, as in doing it for yourself as opposed to pleasing others or meeting society's expectations, is key. And women seem to stick to it better than men, with 67% of the most motivated weight loss participants in the study being women. Becky Hubbard says she was ready for a change. Married right before the pandemic hit, now she and her husband are thinking about having kids. But Becky wanted to feel her best and to be healthy before they began that journey.
Well, I've always struggled with my weight off and on throughout life. And what made this time different is that JK and I would really like to start a family.
And she's not alone. Authors of the study say this follows a global trend of people focusing more on health and wellness following the pandemic. The way we exercise has also changed because of the pandemic. With the rise of virtual workouts, gyms are now offering hybrid classes, with some online and some in person, in order to meet members where they are. Quicker workouts, even 10 minutes at a time, and home gym equipment have also made it easier to squeeze in exercise. Becky has changed her portion sizers, now gets lots of exercise hiking, and most of all, changed her focus to being healthy. She's lost more than 40 pounds and is seeing multiple benefits.
I knew that the improvements with the health would come with weight loss. I'm already starting to see some things like my resting heart rate has improved. My cholesterol levels have already improved. So long-term health improvements.
Experts say it's these lifestyle changes and intrinsic motivation that could help keep the weight off. Guys?
All right, and thank you. We want to turn to Dr. Natalie Azar, our NBC News medical contributor, for more. Dr. Azar, what hit you about this study?
Well, you know, I think the statistics sort of speak for themselves. 55% of Americans have tried 6 or more diets in their lifetime. And we know historically that people have a really difficult time sticking with diets. So this was so interesting because the survey really shows that people are looking for these more like foundational, sustainable changes. Because if your goal is to be healthy inside, right, and to feel happy and to accept yourself, then the rest probably comes naturally, but it's not all about just how you look in an Instagram post.
Do you think, I wonder when they called people up, because these things are tricky, right?
Yes.
You might say that because you think, well, maybe that's what they want to hear.
Well, you know what? I was saying this to Tom in the green room. I was like, there's a few places where I think you need to be honest. You need to be honest with your psychiatrist and honest with your doctors. And I think you can be honest on a survey that's technically anonymous. I mean, they did survey over 200,000 people, but yes, it is true that, sometimes we sort of say a little sarcastically that some people will sort of inflate their answers a bit.
Well, right, because people continue to care about their physical appearance. But let's talk about, I mean, you kind of mentioned it. If someone is motivated by something positive, like I'd like to be healthy, I'd like to look good, as opposed to some beat down, I wish I didn't look like X.
Exactly.
That's going to be more sustainable.
Right, and what was interesting about the survey is that it actually was a psychological survey. And the 3 main factors that they were looking at is how you see yourself, where you are in your state of change. So for example, if you have a lot of weight to lose, you were sort of earlier on in the process, in the mindset, and also your degree of motivation. But here's what's interesting, right, Hoda, we talked about it, that you would think that you need to be so highly motivated to lose this weight, and they found that people were anywhere on the spectrum of motivation actually lost an equal amount of weight, which, by the way, was 5% of their body weight at 12 weeks, which is quite a lot. But the whole point of this was, again, not just to sort of start engaging in these behaviors to get to that point on a scale or to fit into those size whatever jeans, but it was really more about, oh, look at my resting heart rate, maybe my blood sugar's better. And again, if you're feeling healthier inside and you are healthier inside, there's going to be that external, extrinsic
virtuous cycle. All right, Dr. Azar, thank you. If you want to hear more tips, get some information, you can go to our website, today.com.
A new study this morning pointing to a potentially game-changing drug that may help some people lose weight. NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar is with us with what we need to know. This sounds pretty amazing.
Pretty astonishing results. The drug is called tirzepatide, right? It's a diabetes drug. The FDA had approved it for diabetes, but now this study shows those who are obese but not diabetic had profound weight loss, like 35 to 52 pounds.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say, you guys, that the experts who have responded to this study have done so with incredible enthusiasm. And it's so important and so relevant. The majority of Americans are either overweight or obese, and the numbers really are striking. I think we have a graphic for our viewers up here. There were 3 different doses of the medicine that was given. The 15 milligram dose, people lost on average about 52 pounds. At 10 milligrams, they lost 49 pounds. And at 5 milligrams, they lost 35 pounds over a 72-week period. That's almost a year and a half. These results, guys, are comparable to what we see in people who have gastric bypass.
Wow.
So bariatric surgery, and higher than the numbers that we have seen with some other drugs that are currently available on the market to treat obesity.
How does the drug work?
So it works. The drug actually exerts an effect on two really, really important hormones that have an effect in multiple different organs. The pancreas, it increases the release of insulin, so it can drop your blood sugar. Okay. And it also has an effect in the gut and in the brain. And you know that important gut-brain connection?
Yeah.
So it actually helps suppress your appetite. It tells you that you're full more quickly, so you eat less, and it also slows how fast your stomach is emptying, so you feel full faster.
Okay, so what if you have a big event coming up when you want to drop a few pounds? Is this something that you should line up for? Is it even available for people just for weight loss?
Right, Hoda. So it has not yet been approved. The drug company is hoping to get an expedited approval this year. It is, as Savannah mentioned, approved to treat type 2 diabetes. But it's not ever going to just be a substitute for diet and exercise. And by the way, it's going to be expensive in all likelihood. You know, the drug approval for diabetes, it's around $1,000 a month. So it's going to be an adjunct.
And you have to stay on it to have it keep working.
Hugely important point. But it's important, right? We need this tool in the toolbox. There is vastly disproportionately less treatment for obesity as a chronic disease than other
really quickly,
chronic
10
diseases.
seconds.
Yeah.
Side effects?
Very well tolerated GI, mostly nausea, vomiting. A lot of patients had to take an anti-nausea pill the day after, but seemingly well tolerated.
Dr. Natalie.
Thanks, Dr. Azar.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tanya Tucker, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Uvalde, Texas, a small town that has become yet another landmark.
How long do you think it took for all this damage to occur? Can you tell us what it was like?
With our NBC News exclusive.
Top Story with Tanya Tucker, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
The midterms are here. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about for the primary or general election, and you'll instantly get voting rules, see the next big deadline, and learn how to take action for your plan. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for 2022. Visit NBCnews.com/plan your vote today.
It's the weight loss mantra that doctors have been touting for decades. Eat less, move more, and those extra pounds will disappear. Advice that 42-year-old Jennifer Haynes says she tried to follow.
Did anything ever click or work?
Not really. Every time I would do it, I couldn't stick with it.
How did the weight gain affect you physically?
Physically, I was very tired. I was very depressed.
A brand new report by a group of obesity doctors and scientists finds that telling people to eat less could actually be causing more harm than good, and that restricting calories not only causes people to be more hungry, but also slows down metabolism.
The body fights back against calorie restriction.
Harvard pediatrician and endocrinologist Dr. David Ludwig is the report's lead author. He and his colleagues are suggesting a whole new approach called the carbohydrate insulin model. The idea is simple. If overeating isn't fueling obesity, stop counting calories and just cut carbohydrates to control your insulin levels.
Too much insulin, fat cells get programmed to hoard calories so that there aren't too many calories in the bloodstream, there are too few. And that's why we get hungry.
Now, more research is finding that low-carb diets are not only effective, they're sustainable. Something Jennifer found out firsthand when she signed up for a low-carb study at Ohio State University in 2019. Led by researcher Jeff Volek, who has been studying low-carb diets for 25 years. He put Jennifer on a diet that contained 37 grams of carbs a day and had high protein and healthy fats like avocados and nuts. After just 6 weeks, Jennifer lost 20 pounds.
So this is just 6 weeks later, and all this white fat has been reduced from what we see.
Yes, and this is the type of fat you really want to target.
And kept going.
3 years later, how much weight have you lost in total?
All in total, about 88 pounds.
You lost 88 pounds.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's a big deal.
Yes, it's
like a huge deal.
Yeah.
Jennifer says the diet wasn't easy at first. She was forced to cut out her favorite foods like pasta and potatoes, but seeing results was all the motivation she needed.
So once you get used to it and your kids get used to it, it's way easier because you can do it all as a family.
And she's not alone. Volek studies have found that people on low-carb diets can lose more than 10% of their body weight and keep it off.
What actually happens to the body when you're on a low-carb diet?
When you limit carbohydrates, the body gets really good at burning its own body fat because it doesn't have a lot of sugar to burn for fuel.
Something that Jennifer says has been a game changer.
I feel great. It's easier for me to get up, it's easier for me to go to sleep, and I feel a lot more comfortable with myself.
So one of the most interesting things about this new approach is that it also eliminates some of the stigma surrounding obesity, which is typically treated as a behavioral problem. But doctors often assume that people are overweight because they simply eat too much. But instead, it actually takes the blame away from the patient and looks at obesity as a biological problem, really focusing on regulating the hormone insulin. And that, they say, is what it's all about.
But besides just, dropping the weight, I mean, are there other benefits here?
Tons of other benefits. In fact, that researcher, Jeff Volek, that we just spoke to, he's been studying low-carb diets for 25 years. And what's fascinating is that now they're doing new studies to figure out what else it's really affecting. They're looking at different types of cancers and even just your mental health. And the studies so far are really promising.
But low carb has been around for a long time. I guess you never really knew that the science
You look
kind
at
of
the
backed
Pritikin
it
diet,
up.
things like that, the Atkins diet.
Al and I did keto for a while.
Yeah.
Remember we were on that phase, but this is low carb, not
Not
no
no
carb.
carb. It's also interesting you pointed out she didn't exercise at all.
She did not exercise at all. She said she did not lift a finger. She didn't do anything differently. And keto, for example, is a more extreme form of this type of low carb. But again, it's, as Savannah said, it's low carb, but you can have a few things here and there.
But I will
More
say,
sustainable then.
I will say
Yeah.
exercise, and not extreme exercise, but like we're doing that
Yeah,
start
the
today,
walking. The
30-day
walking
walking challenge. That improves, I think, your mental health combined with a low carb diet. And I mean, I've lost about 45 pounds in the last several months, and but
You
again,
did?
but only doing I do about 100 grams of carbs a day,
And then you walk.
and I walk.
Watch you. It doesn't
But you
seem
don't
extreme.
you don't just walk. I've seen your workout. You do weights. You do like real exercise.
Well, look, I'm the oldest person here. I'm trying to last a little while.
You're the most energetic one.
You are. You got more juice than anybody.
You will outlive all of us.
Yes, thank
Right.
you. Thank
Good.
you.
Yeah, guys.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Women's basketball has been systematically held back. After 49 years of Title IX, we still have work to do.
In Their Court, a podcast from NBC News and NBC Sports that goes inside the issues of inequality in women's sports. Listen now.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Allie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tanya Tucker. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
The midterms are here. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about for the primary or general election, and you'll instantly get voting rules, see the next big deadline, and learn how to take action for your plan. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for 2022. Visit NBCnews.com/plan your vote today.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson. Streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson. Streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. All right, this is a really interesting story. We're back with our series Beyond the Scale. There's this food trend that's gaining in popularity.
Yes, I was just asking the guys if you've ever heard of intuitive eating. No. Anybody in the studio? Intuitive eating? Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Okay, everyone says no. According to the website ZocDoc, appointments for intuitive and mindful eating have increased 122% in the last year. The intuitive trend has become a viral hit, and I talked with some women who swear by it.
I did every diet you could think of under the sun.
Gabriella Coliff discovered intuitive eating after 8 years of yo-yo dieting.
Tell me a little bit about why you decided to try something else.
I wanted something that I could sustain for the rest of my life, because anyone can go out there, drop 20 pounds real quick, but it was the maintaining it for the rest of your life.
Gabriella says she's lost 50 pounds by eating intuitively. Now she's sharing her story with nearly 200,000 followers on TikTok.
So how do you explain to people what you're doing when you talk to them about intuitive eating?
It's a lifestyle. It's not a diet. If I'm out with like a bunch of girlfriends, I'm going to eat, if I want to splurge and eat, I'm going to do it. But I'm also able to pick up on my hunger cues throughout the rest of the week, and it creates a balanced life.
Intuitive eating is a process of listening and responding to your body's messages to meet your physical and psychological needs. Intuitive eating counselors argue if your body can tell you when you're tired or thirsty, it can tell you when you're hungry too.
I think most of us, for the most part, know what to do if we were given a test and we would say, okay, do you want the bowl of fruit or do you want the candy bar? I mean, we kind of know what to do, but for some reason, we just kind of lean towards what we want. Where does intuitive eating fit into this?
So what intuitive eating does is it allows you to view food neutrally so that you get to decide what feels good to me. What do I know that my body needs to honor, yes, its cravings, but also its health.
Nutritionist Colleen Christensen is part of the new wave of intuitive eaters on social media. She's in good company. The hashtag intuitive eating has over 1 billion views on TikTok and 2 million posts on Instagram.
You can have a positive and healthy relationship with food and body, and it doesn't have to be following these rules that we feel like, oh, I have to eat this or I should eat this.
According to a recent analysis, intuitive eating is linked with better body image, improved self-esteem, and overall well-being. And while it isn't a weight loss plan, a 2016 study found intuitive eating was strongly associated with lower odds of being overweight and obese.
When I practice weight management with my patients, there are many aspects of intuitive eating that we incorporate into their individual plans.
Dr. Holly Lofton runs NYU Langone's weight management program. Her patients learn some intuitive eating techniques, like focusing on their hunger cues.
If we're eating and not paying attention to the cues that your brain is sending or your gut is sending, that can lead to overeating, and of course that can be detrimental for one's health.
She believes intuitive eating fits into the country's shifting attitude towards diet culture.
I think a lot of the new mantras about how we eat and our activity and live our lives are very physiologic. It's really getting in touch more with our roots, and in listening to your body, you can really make great strides in your overall health.
For those interested in intuitive eating, patience is key.
Intuitive eating takes time. It's not necessarily a light switch that you can just turn on. We have to essentially relearn how to listen to our body.
All right, so let me add another layer here. Colleen said you should act like you're a scientist collecting data from your body, okay? So slow down when you eat. What makes you feel good? What doesn't make you feel good? And then make tweaks based on that. And while it works for a lot of people, it may not be for everyone. So if you have high blood pressure, for example, or high cholesterol, you have to follow a specific diet, or maybe you have to limit certain foods. But here's the thing. Dylan, you've been intuitive eating for a really long time, but you also have self-discipline. You have more discipline, I feel like, than I do. Like,
and it's something I didn't even know was a way of eating. It's just I always, like, I love to eat, as you all know, but I also know if I eat too much of one thing, I'll pull back later on.
Yeah, like you're just very disciplined.
Yeah.
So this is one thing we didn't mention in the piece that I thought was interesting. Everybody I talked with, they went to a doctor first. They did an allergy test. They do a battery of tests, and you find out maybe you're allergic to something you didn't even realize you were allergic to, and you strip everything away because I think sometimes you don't even know if you're hungry anymore because you can't even listen to your body. So go to a doctor first. Make sure you're not allergic to something.
And we do eat too fast.
And we all eat too fast.
It takes 20 minutes for the brain to register.
A lot of times, often people think that they're hungry when in fact they're thirsty.
All of those
or
things.
bored.
And they say if you slow down and just listen to your body, that, you know, it can work. It works for Dylan.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tanya Tucker, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Top Story with Tanya Tucker, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tanya Tucker, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Our focus is one of the most popular diet trends in America, keto. It's a method that's often praised for short-term results, but some criticize it for that restrictive, low-carb approach. Well, luckily for us, JJ Smith is here with ways to do keto and be successful in the long run. She's a nutritionist, the author of the new 14-day keto cleanse. JJ, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. I'm excited about this because a lot of folks have tried keto. They love it. You do see results, but they find it hard to sustain over the long term.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people experience the keto flu, and the goal is to get the body, keto is short for ketosis.
Yeah.
And this involves getting the body into fat burning mode. And this plan includes other ways to get the body into ketosis without having to eat all those high fat foods, which could lead to health issues for some.
Yeah, how long does it take to get into that ketosis mode where you're really burning fat?
Yeah, of course, it actually varies by individual. Okay. Some people, it could be as short as a couple of days. For others, it could take a couple of weeks. But when you're in ketosis, you know, because you're going to lose weight, you're going to start feeling energized, and you're going to be able to kind of reduce your appetite, and you don't feel so hungry all the time.
Okay, and now your plan, and we're going to try some of your recipes here in a minute, but your plan will put you into ketosis, but how is it, I guess, less rigid than the typical keto?
Okay, so I call this the healthier version of keto. Okay, so one of the things that we do, because we use other methods to get into ketosis, we feature keto smoothies. Now, these are green smoothies that are low in carb, low in sugar, and quite frankly, in one keto smoothie, they're so nutrient dense. In one smoothie, sometimes you get more nutrients than you've had in an entire week.
Wow.
So many people on this plan tell me, this plan makes keto feel crazy good. And so you feel good, you don't get the keto flu, you get energized, you get to detox and lose some weight.
Okay, so you have a 14-day cleanse to kind of kick it off.
Yeah.
This is from day one. So this is day one. What, breakfast?
Okay, so this is breakfast. You're basically swapping out your breakfast for a keto smoothie.
Okay.
And in this one, we feature avocados. When you take out all the fruit in a smoothie, we add in avocados to give it its creamy texture. And so we love this one. Our keto smoothies were tested with 8,000 people, and both adults and kids had to love them.
Right.
So this one is fresh, it's light. We do use stevia. You can use any natural sweetener that you like.
It's not sweet.
No.
It tastes good. It's creamy, but it's not sweet. But your stevia is okay.
Stevia or monk fruit is fine, just to give it a little sweetness.
So you would eat one for breakfast,
and
for lunch. Okay.
Okay.
And then dinner time. This is our first day.
Ooh, okay. So this is a chili. Imagine eating a hearty chili on a plan that's designed to help you burn fat.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing. This combination of ingredients, they simmer to perfection. People literally write me and say, my kids ate all my chili, what am I going to do?
I always think of it like if chili, having a tomato base and getting real carby real fast. How do you counter
There's
that?
no beans in it. It's a chili with no beans, so we keep the carbs low, but we keep the flavor on high because food has to taste good. And the recipes are simple. They're easy to make because I don't have time to be in the kitchen all day. How about you?
No, trust me, no. But I mean, I have time. I just don't have talent. But how you let them, this plan, you can have a little more carbs than the traditional keto.
You can have a little bit more carbs, and the main reason, and this something, the main reason is because we use other methods to get the body into ketosis, like intermittent fasting.
Okay.
So it's
how does that work into it?
Okay, so what happens is, intermittent fasting is not about what you eat, it's when you eat. So imagine just changing the time frames of when you eat and being able to help get the body into ketosis. So we add intermittent fasting, we add a high Tabata for 4 minutes. And these methods—
That's the workout.
Yeah, it's a 4-minute routine that anybody could basically do.
Okay.
But these methods push the body into ketosis so you can still burn fat.
Now we just have 30 seconds. This is the last day of the cleanse. Another avocado smoothie for breakfast.
So the last day of the cleanse is the last day. This is a peppermint keto smoothie.
I would try this one then. Okay.
Yeah. If you love peppermint patties, you will love this. I support 840,000 in my Green Smoothie Facebook group.
Yeah.
And they absolutely love this one because it tastes like peppermint smoothies.
And then fajitas. Now,
fajitas.
Tortillas not included.
Not included, but what I love is this is you get a healthier version of some of your favorite meals. Yeah. Imagine being able to have fajitas on a weight loss plan. It's so good.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think.
Love it.
Yes. Awesome.
And you can go big on like oils and nuts and
you can go oils and nuts and other healthy fats and you'll be perfectly fine.
So we're trying intermittent fasting. We're seeing how it works, seeing if it's supposed to help with not only weight loss, but like brain health and energy and all that. Skin. It's supposed to help with anti-aging.
Your skin looks great, actually, but how does your brain feel?
You know what's funny? Yesterday, when I was coming home from work in the car, usually I'm kind of vegged out.
Yes.
Listen, I was weirdly alert. I was texting people. I was responding to things. I'm sure people here were like, "What, Reka? I responded to you." You were like this. Oh my gosh, is she okay? But I was like, yes, I can do it. Let me see the video. I was just like, felt good. Very unusual for me. So maybe it'll help.
Yeah.
How about you?
You also hit the gym, I think.
Yes.
For yesterday, and you said it was like,
I was mad because after our weigh-in, I was like, I was just sweating. They say if you're sweating, it's like your fat's crying. So.
Okay.
So that's what was happening.
You know what? I do have to say, I reminded myself yesterday. Do you want to eat?
Yes, I'm starving.
I reminded myself. I'm eating egg. I thought this is egg whites after seeing the scale, but I was reminded why I don't weigh myself yesterday.
Why?
Because I was playing with my kids and I kept having that one number in my head.
I know.
And I'm like, you know what? No. I don't want life to be controlled by a scale.
A number. I agree.
So we're gonna do it. We're gonna do
We're gonna weigh ourselves periodically.
Yes.
I don't know when, but I think just to keep track.
Yeah.
But I think it is good every now and then, even though I hate standing up
on a scale
to find out like where you are, just to get a benchmark. It doesn't matter.
I needed it because I think I've been delusional.
Me too.
And I don't think it's about like the thing is, we're not saying we need to be some sort of number to be us.
No.
We're happy with us.
We're happy.
But we just want us a little spelt.
I think it will make us feel better because we both had this today. We were trying on dresses to wear. And sometimes what happens is for the earlier hours, Savannah will, I'll know what she's wearing, and they'll say, oh, we pulled out 3 things that would match hers, and I tried on all 3, and none of them fit.
Guess how many dresses I tried on, too?
How many?
3. Lucky number
See?
4.
So things are gonna be different coming up in a month.
Okay. Sorry. It's gonna be hard. I wonder if we should do our first bite at 9:55.
No, 10. I think that's to be straight up. So if y'all are with us, maybe you're having your first bite of food right now, too.
Join in, because you know what? Why not?
It's fun.
Let's
you know
see how we feel.
And it's a fad, and who doesn't like a fad?
That's right. Henry goes, this sounds, I texted him.
Yeah.
And he goes, why'd you decide to do that? And I'm like, I don't know, kind of thought that went through my head right afterwards, too. But he goes, it sounds sort of like a fad. And I'm like, yes, it is. But as you said, and I'm not sure if this is true, it's been going on for a long time.
For years, for hundreds of years, people have had to, just out of necessity.
Sponsored by Walmart.
What up, y'all? Welcome to the Today All Day Kitchen.
Pasta is a staple for so many weeknight meals. It's easy to make, pretty hard to screw up, and oh so satisfying. I'm making pillowy soft ricotta gnocchi with peas and parm in a buttery sauce.
And I'm cooking up a creamy chicken stroganoff with baby bella mushrooms.
And I'm whipping up a spicy vegan pasta alla vodka. So start boiling some water.
It's time to use that noodle.
And let's get cooking.
You can shop the ingredients featured here from our sponsor, Walmart, by scanning the QR code. Today earns a commission from purchases made through links on today.com.
I have to admit, pasta is one of my go-to comfort foods, so I am very excited to share this recipe with you. The first thing we want to do is take our gorgeous ricotta and actually lay it out in a thin layer on paper towels. Since the ricotta is the base of our dough, we need to remove some of that moisture so it ends up really nice and light and fluffy rather than dense. We are going to let this sit for about 12 to 15 minutes just to make sure that the paper towel absorbs that moisture, but lucky for me, I made one before. And here is how it ends up looking when it is done. Stunning. Okay, so now let's just make our dough. We have our ricotta right here. Plop it right on in. So we have 2 large eggs here. I'm going to crack them right into our bowl. 1 cup of finely grated Parmigiano Reggiano cheese and some kosher salt, just to awaken the flavor. Before we add in our flour, we are going to delicately mix it all together so it creates a really light, fluffy consistency. So now that this is looking really beautifully mixed together, that is when we know it is time to start adding in our flour. It's really important here to add your flour in 1/4 cup at a time because we don't want to develop too much gluten, but we also want to make sure that our ricotta stays nice and fluffy. We're just going to delicately mix it until there are no more big bits of flour, and we'll just keep mixing. Our final 1/4 cup. There we go, looking good. Now it is time to shape our gnocchi. And then we're going to take our dough mixture, kind of form it into a bit of a, it feels so good. It feels like a baby's bottom. Can we use that in the final cut? It's what it feels like. Okay, and now we're going to dust the top with a bit more flour. And this is my favorite tool whenever I'm making pasta, also whenever I'm cooking to easily pick things up. It is called a bench scraper. It's typically used for decorating cakes, making sure you have a nice smooth line of frosting around your cake, but it does such a good job of picking things up, and it also does a great job of cutting things really evenly. And we are going to cut this into quarters. And the next thing we're going to do is we are going to roll this out into a beautiful snake that is about 1 inch thick. It feels so nice, so soft. I like to cut off the end first, just because this end, it doesn't look as nice. And then what I'll do is I will just keep cutting little 1-inch pieces of pasta. And look at that. They look like little pillows, don't they? Look at how beautiful this is looking. And what we're going to do is we'll take that same bench scraper that we have, lift them up, and transfer them to a parchment-lined baking sheet. All right, and we're just going to repeat this with our remaining pieces of gnocchi dough. Looking good. Before we cook our gnocchi, I want to get started on the star of our sauce. This is a lemon butter sauce, so we are going to be using the zest and juice of 2 gorgeous lemons. And I'm going to show you my favorite way to prepare lemon zest. So we're just going to take the peeler and run it along lengthwise on this lemon, pulling the zest off of the lemon. So I'm just gonna remove any of this extra pith. And the reason why I'm removing this pith is because the pith is a bit bitter and we don't want any of that bitterness. And as you can see, I've stacked up all of this lemon into cute little, almost soldiers, if you will. Take your knife and rock it back and forth along that peel. It smells amazing. And you can see how beautiful these strips are. And then what we'll do is we'll take these shreds and turn them, and then we will run our knife across again to mince that lemon. And it took me a while to master these skills, let me tell you. It really all comes down to practicing over and over and over again. It's really repetition here. And now I'm just gonna take my knife and run through this a few more times. It's smelling absolutely amazing. Look at that zest though. I mean, it's like freshly fallen snow. Okay, let's clean up, get our water a-boiling, and finish up this gnocchi. Our water is boiling. It is time to cook our gnocchi, and you gotta pay attention because this all happens pretty quickly. But I promise you, you have all of the tools to absolutely crush it. The first thing we wanna do is salt our water. I'm taking kosher salt. Okay, this is boiling beautifully, and we can use our fingers to plop these in, because let me tell you, they are light and pillowy, and dropping them all in at once is going to cause them to smush together. We want these to cook until they float to the top, okay? They basically tell us, they're like, hey, what's up? And then to save some time, we are actually going to take our frozen peas and we're gonna pop those in as well. So this pasta water is liquid gold. I call it unicorn juice whenever I'm cooking because all of the starch in the water itself is actually going to help bind our sauce together. And we're going to start adding in our cubed unsalted butter, a couple tablespoons at a time. You really want it to be cold butter because our goal here is to really emulsify everything. Take a whisk. Start whisking everything up. The gnocchi's starting to float. And now we are ready to bring our sauce and our gnocchi together. I've actually turned off the heat. If it is too hot, it may cause your sauce to break. So just make sure you turn that heat off. Next up, we're going to add in half of our lemon zest. How good does this look? Okay, next up, we are going to slowly add in our parm. Keep on mixing it back and forth so that it melts in a nice, even fashion. It is smelling so good. And as you can see, it is really looking super glossy. And it is tasting delish. So add in the lemon juice a little bit at a time. Again, we want to emulsify this in. We don't want to freak out the gorgeous sauce that we just worked so hard to build. It is coating all of those beautiful pillows of gnocchi. And now it is time to plate it up. Oh my gosh, you guys, how gorgeous does this look? Okay, a little extra parm, some freshly ground black pepper, and then I'll take a little bit of fresh mint, a little drizzle of olive oil, gives the pasta gorgeous sheen, and there you go, homemade ricotta gnocchi in a lemon butter sauce with peas and mint. I'm so excited to try this. It is melting in my mouth. The parm adds the perfect amount of nuttiness and saltiness. I don't have any other words to say except I know you're gonna love this. So good.
It's a can't miss summer on Today.
They are walking strong, elegant, and pretty easy to prepare.
How to cut costs on your vacation? Vicky has the answers.
Every single thing you need for the best summer yet.
Only on Today.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Uvalde, Texas, a small town that has become yet another landmark. How long do you think it took for all this damage to occur? Can you tell us what it was like? With our NBC News exclusive.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
When you hear stroganoff, you're probably thinking beef, but this creamy comfort food pairs incredibly well with chicken. But the best part about this dish is that it all comes together in one pot. Less mess is always a win in my kitchen. All right, so first what we're gonna do is we're gonna make our dry rub. I like to use a little bit of smoked paprika. You can use the regular paprika too, but I think smoked flavors just bring a lot more body to your recipes. And then a little bit of dried thyme, and then a little bit of garlic powder. Give that a good swish. All right, now let's move on to our chicken breast. Now I've just got some lean, skinless chicken breasts, and I'm not sure about you, but I like to cut mine up into smaller pieces. The reason why, it's gonna cook a lot faster. All right, y'all, let's add this to our bowl. Get your hands all up in there. Don't be scared to get your hands dirty. I'm gonna just rinse off the cutting board and wash our knife so we can prep the mushrooms. Okay, now I'm gonna be using some baby bella mushrooms. I think they're super delicious. I'm just gonna slice this into small slices just like this. So I've got a ton of mushrooms here, and you're probably thinking, okay, that's not gonna fit in my pan. Don't worry, mushrooms are kind of like spinach. Once you start cooking them and add some heat to them, they shrivel up really, really small. So they will fit, I promise you that. Our mushrooms are cut up. I'm gonna set these aside, and now we're gonna fire up our pan and get cooking. All right, we're gonna place this on a medium high heat. Okay, with it nice and hot, in goes the oil. This is a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of heart health, a little sprinkle of that. Then I like to grab some tongs, and in goes our chicken. Ooh, I love that sizzle sound. We want a nice sear, a nice color on the chicken. There we go. You're gonna wanna cook this for about 4 to 5 minutes on each side, and then look at this. Oh, just lift it up. And look at that beautiful color on the chicken. Move it around a little bit. If you're feeling brave, you can go ahead and toss it. But again, this is a no mess recipe, so the least amount of mess you can make in your kitchen, the better. This chicken is just about ready. I'm gonna move my mushrooms a little bit closer. And then I'm gonna use my tongs. I'm gonna start taking out the pieces of chicken. Oh my God, look at that. It's just looking so good. Kev, you did that. If you're not your best cheerleader in the kitchen, I don't know what you're doing. You gotta just give yourself a pat on the back. It smells so good, it looks so good. Exactly what we want. I'm gonna set this over here. Now, I'm gonna add in the mushrooms now. Now, there's a lot of chicken flavor here. Ready? So we want that. Oh, we got a good sear here. I'm just gonna wilt them just a little bit by using a little bit of our chicken broth. Just a little bit, just to create some steam. And also, this is gonna help to deglaze the bottom of our skillet as well. I'm gonna get my Salt Bae on. Give me a little pinch of salt, just a little bit. Boom. And the cool thing about mushrooms is that as they're shrinking up too, you know, they're just soaking up all this flavor. So people that say, I don't like mushrooms, I'm like, yo man, mushrooms are like flavor bombs. They make your mouth water. It's that umami factor. More love to mushrooms this year. Now we're gonna try to create a little bit of a thick gravy here. We're gonna add in a little bit of flour. I'm gonna give this a quick toss first. Then we're gonna add in about a cup of our chicken broth. And what you'll see here, you're gonna still deglaze, but you see now the chicken broth is really cloudy, and that's because it's turning into that gravy that we want. I'm also gonna add in a little bit of Dijon. And just keep stirring, and this is looking beautiful. All right, now let's begin to bring everything together. In goes our chicken broth. Reserve some, then grab yourself the egg noodles, sprinkle those on, and then pour in the rest of that broth. And the noodles are going to absorb all of this liquid that's now like a gravy. So we're gonna bring it to a light simmer, and you can see right here inside, got the little light simmer going. That's just about right. And then we're gonna cover and cook this for about 7 minutes. Oh my gosh, I stirred these once. Oof, they are looking good. Always check your noodles. And if you're thinking like, Kev, it's looking a little watery, what am I gonna do? Don't worry, I got you. Remember that it's gonna thicken up as it cools, but also it's gonna thicken up because we're going to add in our Greek yogurt now. Greek yogurt is really high in protein, and it's really, really, really thick. And look at this. It looks like I added cheese, but I have not at all. And this is our swap for sour cream. Last bit of work, we're gonna add in our chicken. Well, you can't be here to smell it, but I'm just gonna describe it. We need that smell-o-vision from Willy Wonka. So I'm gonna plate it right here and finish it off with some fresh parsley. You like smothered chicken? Try this chicken stroganoff. You're seeing it first here today, and then today, All Day Kitchen. I'm just gonna hit it with some fresh black pepper. Ooh, look at that. I don't know about y'all, but I'm excited about eating. Here we go. Get a little bit of mushroom, a little bit of egg noodle, and then some of this succulent, lean chicken breast. Oh my God. Yeah, this will make you get happy in church. Ooh, there you go. I guarantee your friends and family are going to love this dish.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson. Streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Women's basketball has been systematically held back
After 49 years of Title IX, we still have work to do.
In Their Court, a podcast from NBC News and NBC Sports that goes inside the issues of inequality in women's sports. Listen now.
The midterms are here. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about for the primary or general election, and you'll instantly get voting rules, see the next big deadline, and learn how to take action for your plan. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for 2022. Visit NBCnews.com/planyourvote today.
Uvalde, Texas, a small town that has become yet another landmark.
How long do you think it took for all this damage to occur? Can you tell us what it was like?
With our NBC News exclusive.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
I grew up on Staten Island, so I can't even tell you how many pasta dishes I've eaten over the years. One of my absolute favorites is penne alla vodka. So today, I'm giving that beautiful pink sauce a vegan makeover. And I'm putting a little twist on that penne too. Let's get started with the crunchy breadcrumb topping. So first, I'm gonna get a small skillet over medium-low heat, and we're gonna add in a little bit of olive oil. So for our breadcrumbs, we're gonna use panko breadcrumbs. I love using panko because it's extra crunchy and it's plain, so we can add anything to it and really manipulate those flavors. And the way we're gonna do that is by adding some red chili flakes because we want this spicy, and a little bit of nutmeg to really round out those flavors and add that earthy component. A little bit of kosher salt, and a little bit of freshly ground black pepper. And we're gonna cook this over medium-low until it gets a nice golden brown color. So we're essentially just toasting it in the pan. This usually takes about 5 minutes to get nice and golden and crispy. This is a test. If it loosely moves in the pan, that means it's ready. So to start off any good sauce, you have to start off with your aromatics. We're gonna start with 1 medium white onion and some garlic. So we just wanna get a small dice on this. And next up, garlic. We're using about 4 cloves of garlic. I just like to give them a light crush to help me with the chopping process. Another great way to prep all of this is actually just blitzing it up in a food processor, just putting it on chop and giving it a few pulses and it'll all be roughly chopped. So you want to start off with a really large pan and get it over medium-high heat. To this, we're going to add a layer of olive oil, and we're also going to add in 1 tablespoon of vegan butter. Traditional vodka sauce is so indulgent and creamy, so we're gonna add a few vegan options to help bring that creaminess to the sauce. So now that our oil is hot and the butter is sizzling, let's go in with our onion and garlic. You also wanna get some salt in at this point because that's gonna help the onions sweat out all of their moisture. Now, I said this was spicy vodka sauce, so now come in our spicy elements. We're gonna add some red chili flakes, but let's not stop there. We're gonna add in one of my favorite chili peppers, Calabrian chilies. And I just so happen to be wearing chili earrings to celebrate the occasion. So we wanna cook these for about 5 minutes until the onions are sweating and almost translucent. So now let's go in with our tomato paste. The tomato paste is gonna add basically a really concentrated tomato flavor. So it's gonna feel like we've been cooking this sauce all day, but really, we haven't been. So get this incorporated into the onions. So, the star of the show, some vodka. No, this is not a shot for me. This is for the pasta. Maybe that'll be later. So once we add the vodka in, all of that alcohol is gonna evaporate, so you don't have to worry about any alcohol actually being in there, but the flavor of the vodka will become concentrated, which is what adds that unique flavor to vodka sauce, which I happen to love. We're gonna go in with some crushed tomatoes. We're gonna go in with a little sugar. Now, don't hate on this. This is really gonna help balance the flavors again. There's a lot of acidity in the tomatoes, and then we also have a lot of spice, so the sugar is gonna help round everything out. As well as some dried oregano. So I actually like to take this and rub it in between my fingers to get the oils in the oregano activated. We want our spicy vodka sauce to be smooth and silky, and in order to achieve that, we're gonna use an immersion blender. This looks great. Look how vibrant that is. It really is starting to look like vodka sauce. So now we're gonna add a few dairy elements to our sauce. We're gonna add a little bit of vegan creamer, as well as some vegan cream cheese. So you wanna make sure to incorporate all of that in, and you can see the color is this beautiful light orange vodka sauce color. We're gonna add in 1 whole sprig of fresh basil, right in, and we're gonna let that simmer with the sauce. Okay, let's check in our pasta water. Oh, it's boiling. Before we do anything, we always wanna salt our pasta water. And now for our pasta. I just wanna show you guys how fun this is. So this is called a Colony Pompeii. I think Colony means column, and Pompeii is obviously a city in Italy. But to me, it's just a beautiful large fusilli, and it looks delicious to eat. So we're gonna get these in. This pasta is so big, it takes about 10 or 12 minutes to cook. So I'm gonna start cleaning up and get everything out of the way and get ready to plate.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tanya Tucker, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
It's a can't-miss summer on Today.
They are walking strong, elegant, and pretty easy to prepare.
How to cut costs on your vacation? Vicky has the answers.
Every single thing you need for the best summer yet.
Only on Today.
Top Story with Tanya Tucker, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tanya Tucker, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Our pasta looks ready, so let's add it into our vodka sauce. Beautiful. This is so fun. Look at these swirls. And this is liquid gold. This is our starchy, salted water. So we're actually gonna add a little ladle into our pasta to make it even silkier. You wanna make sure to gently combine this with the sauce because we don't wanna break up our beautiful giant swirls of pasta.
Look how fun this looks. I'm so excited to eat it, but we can't forget about our spicy, crunchy breadcrumb topping. So it's now completely cooled, so we can just use our hands to garnish it as if we were garnishing it with Parmesan. And then if we want to be extra fancy, we can add a little sprig of fresh basil. Okay, I've waited long enough, so we're now ready to dig in. I'm so excited to eat this shape. I feel like the proper way is from the bottom. Wow, I think Staten Island would be proud. This is so delicious and so fun. Look at that. Chef's kiss. This is delicious.
I'm Shop Today editorial director Adriana Brock, and I know shopping trends. I seek out new and notable products so you don't have to in Editor's Picks.
I'm Shop All Day contributor Makon Dovu, and I'm bringing you industry insiders and those in the know to share our must-have summer travel items and influencer trends.
I'm Shop All Day contributor Chassie Post, and each week I'm here with the must-have fashion and beauty products at a price you'll like in Style Finder. This is Shop All Day Summer Travel.
Hey everyone, I'm Adriana Brock, and we are back today with a new episode of Shop All Day. I don't know about you guys, but I am so excited for summer travel. And whether you're driving across the country or on a short road trip, traveling to a tropical oasis, hitting the beach, you name it, we have all the products you need to make summer travel a total breeze. From a travel-friendly and super chic visor to a pair of sunglasses that are trending on social media and under $20. And see that QR code at the corner of your screen? You can use the camera on your smartphone to scan it for instant access to the products on the show today. Or you can text SHOP to the number below to shop all the products we're sharing with you. Okay, first up, travel essentials that are gonna make your life easier. Let's start with a flying must-have. Okay, so this is the perfect one for those chilly airplane rides. It's a 2-in-1 travel-sized pillow that unzips to reveal a cozy blanket that's 65 by 45 inches. It comes in 6 different colors, and it's made with soft-to-the-touch micro fleece fabric that is great for plane travel, road trips, or even camping. And you fold it back up, and it doubles as a cozy pillow. Plus, it has a convenient luggage sleeve and a backpack clip so you can take it on the go. All right, next, do not let a messy bag turn into a bottomless pit when you're digging around trying to find those essentials like your phone, a passport, or a wallet. That can be so stressful when you're on the go or in a rush to get out the door. This affordable purse organizer is gonna put an end to the endless digging. It has all the compartments, pockets, zippers, everything you need to keep everything in a designated spot so you'll never have to lose your keys or misplace your sunglasses ever again. The best part about this organizing insert too is that it's so lightweight, you can easily transfer it from your purse to your beach bag, and you'll never leave home without those essentials. And speaking of the essentials, we all need a good wallet to keep those important valuables handy. This affordable wallet has everything you need to keep you organized while you're on the go. 8 card slots, an ID window, 2 compartments for cash and receipts, and a zip pocket. It also has a slot for your smartphone, and it comes with a thin strap that can convert this wallet into a hands-free crossbody bag that you can take on the go. And when you're on the go, streamlining your beauty bag is a must, and we've got you covered with a really smart solution. It's the Kitsch Ultimate Travel Essentials 11-piece set of containers that will let you bring travel-friendly sizes of all your favorite beauty products on the go without having to check in all those full-size bottles in a suitcase. These lightweight pouches are great for shampoo and conditioner. There's also a pump bottle that you can use, a spray bottle, and little jars for your skincare routine. Plus, it comes with a really convenient funnel and a spatula, so it's gonna make transferring all the products into the containers totally seamless. And once you have all your essentials in those handy travel containers, round out your beauty bag with this summer set of mini and full-size bestsellers from Sephora. The brand says that it comes with $134 worth of beauty favorites, including Supergoop's lightweight unseen sunscreen, Milk Beauty's hydro cooling face stick, Tarte's Surfer Curl mascara, and my personal favorite, the Viral tanning drops. There's a total of 10 products, so you are really getting the most bang for your buck. and they are all perfectly sized for packing. Another travel essential we all need this summer is a pair of sunglasses, and we found the perfect pair for women and men. We actually discovered these popular sunglasses on social media, and they are going viral because they are so affordable. I mean, if you just look at this design, they're super sleek. They look so much more expensive than they actually are, and people who swear by these think they look good on everybody. Plus, they're so affordable. If you're like me and you lose your sunglasses all the time, you can buy 2 pairs, one for your bag and another for the car. These last 2 finds are things you didn't really know you needed, but once you use them and bring them along for your summer vacations, you will not be able to travel without them. First, we have the battery-powered Philips One by Sonicare electric toothbrush. This thing is genius. No more tiny travel toothbrushes or those flimsy manual toothbrushes that you get at the hotel. This electric toothbrush does all the work for you, and it comes in a really sleek case that's not gonna take up too much space in your toiletry bag. And it has a 2-minute timer with 30-second notification vibration so that, according to the brand, you can get a deep clean every single time. And it's at a price we like, under $20. Another hidden gem is this stainless steel water bottle with a secret compartment. The brand says this 18-ounce bottle can keep your beverage cold for up to 24 hours and hot for up to 12. But the coolest part is that the bottom unscrews to reveal a hidden compartment for valuables like your keys, your cash, and your cards. It also has a leak-proof lid, a carabiner, and, according to the brand, has a sweat-free exterior. This is a must-have for all those pool and beach days. Let's run through the products one more time. The Ever Snug Travel Blanket and Pillow, the Travel Organizer Pouch, the Amazon Essentials Wristlet Wallet, the Kitsch Ultimate Travel Set, the Vacay All Day All Over Face Set, the Sojo's Polarized Sunglasses, the Philips One Sonicare Toothbrush, and the stainless steel water bottle. And just so you know, Today works with affiliate partners and earns a commission on purchases made through our links at today.com. That's a wrap for Editor's Picks. Up next, content creator and founder of Hotel Lobby Candle, Lindsay Silberman, is here with us to share her travel must-haves. Stay tuned.
Uvalde, Texas, a small town that has become yet another landmark.
How long do you think it took for all this damage to occur? Can you tell us what it was like?
With our NBC News exclusive.
It's a can't-miss summer on Today.
They are walking strong.
Elegant and pretty easy to prepare.
How to cut costs on your vacation? Vicky has the answers.
Every single thing you need for the best summer yet.
Only on Today.
The midterms are here. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about for the primary or general election, and you'll instantly get voting rules, see the next big deadline, and learn how to take action for your plan. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for 2022. Visit NBCnews.com/planyourvote today.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time.
When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing?
My name is Lester.
Hey, who's this?
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
The midterms are here. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about for the primary or general election, and you'll instantly get voting rules, see the next big deadline, and learn how to take action for your plan. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for 2022. Visit NBCnews.com/planyourvote today.
Top Story with Tanya Tucker, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi there, welcome back. I'm Makon Jovu, and this is Influencer Trends, where I'll be talking to industry insiders, and they'll share their favorite products and the must-have items to shop for right now. And don't forget the QR code on the corner of your screen. Use the camera on your smartphone and scan it to shop these products, or you can text SHOP to the number below to shop all the products we're sharing with you today. If anyone knows travel, it's our guest today, Lindsay Silberman. She is a content creator and the founder of Hotel Lobby Candle, and she's here to share her travel must-haves with us. Lindsay, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so excited that you're here. All right, so we're all about summer travel here, but I want to start out with your journey, right? You started out as an intern at Vogue, and now you have several hats, several businesses, one of which is your candle line. But how did you capture the scent of the candle?
So my career journey really started as an intern in the Vogue fashion closet, and I worked my way up to becoming a luxury travel journalist, and I got to travel around the world and stay at some absolutely incredible luxury hotels as part of my job. And throughout that experience, you know, there was something that I found that was always so compelling and really special about the way luxury hotels would pump these scents inside their lobbies. And so I always thought how amazing it would be to create a brand that would be able to bring that experience into everyone's home, whether you are traveling, not traveling, or have just gotten back from a trip. So that's why I launched Hotel Lobby Candle. We launched the brand in 2020.
Well, congratulations. I love that we get to experience that in the comfort of our own homes. We're going to talk about your candle line in just a little bit. But Lindsay, I heard that you've been to 63 countries, that you've traveled to 63 countries. First of all, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm pretty sure it's exactly 63.
Exactly 63. Okay, so that's a lot to go through. Do you have a favorite travel memory from any of those 63 countries?
I went to India for the first time a couple years ago with a group of other creators and photographers, and I've been wanting to go to India forever. It was sensory overload. Yeah. You know, the food was incredible, the people were incredible. From a visual perspective, being able to travel with other photographers and creators, it was truly one of the most incredible experiences. And you know, like any travel experience, there were missed flights, there were missed connections. It was all the kind of craziness and chaos that comes with traveling around the world, but it was incredible.
Oh, I love that. I had Indian food last night. It is my favorite, so I'm adding that to my bucket list. Since you are the expert here, do you have any words of advice for people that are planning their big vacation this summer?
Yeah, I would just say, you know, you can never be too prepared. Now there's so much uncertainty, and I think you really just have to be willing to kind of go with the flow a little bit more. Things change, you know, some restaurants may have tougher restrictions, that hotel amenities may not be the same as what you're used to. But I think as long as you kind of go into your trip with a very open-minded attitude, I also think it's really important to remember that the hospitality industry has been hit so hard by the pandemic. A lot of places are understaffed, and just be patient with people. Remember, like, a lot of these people are working the job of two people, and you know, tip well and be grateful for a really good service. And I think I just like have grace when you're traveling. Just remember that things are not the way they were 4 or 5 years ago.
That is excellent advice. I love that. Let's dive into your picks. The first one here, let's take to the skies with this air mount. How does it work?
Okay, so I don't know about you, but I've noticed that all of a sudden the TVs on the back of the seats in planes have miraculously disappeared, and now we're being told by a lot of airlines to use our phones to stream our in-flight entertainment. And a lot of times that catches you by surprise, and you're sitting there trying to set your phone up on your sweatshirt or your hat, and there are a couple of these in-flight air mounts that will just mount your phone, clips to the back of the seat in front of you, or it clips to the tray table. And it's just like having a mini TV, except that it's on your phone. You don't have to worry about propping it up or getting it just right.
I mean, it's such a clever device. Moving on to our next clever device for summer travel. So let's talk about this. Why should we use a steamer over an iron?
Actually, I was just away this past weekend, and my husband loves to iron. And there was no iron in the hotel, so he called front desk, and they didn't have one. And so it's one of the things where I just love traveling with a steamer. It's so convenient. It will get the wrinkles out of your clothes so quickly. This travel steamer is so small. I travel with it, but then I also just use it in my own home too.
That's such a good idea. And I feel like when you're going on vacation, you still want your outfits to look on point and look beautiful. A steamer is the perfect way to do that. Speaking of looking on point and beautiful, some of these hotels don't have the best light. I like this LED mirror. Tell me about it.
Okay, so I have one right here. And what's amazing about it is that it's super compact. You can fold it up like this. It's literally the width of a small book or a magazine. And you can adjust the lighting. It even has 3 different settings. So you can have neutral light, warm light, or cool light. You can see right here what a difference it makes to the lighting on my face. Just doing your makeup, good lighting, you can really do your makeup anywhere, and you don't have to worry about what type of mirror lighting situation there is in your hotel.
And I like exactly what you said, how sleek and compact it is, because I do tend to overpack. So I like that this can fit in to my suitcase. Now, moving on to the next item that we have. I have to admit, I didn't necessarily think about this as a summer travel essential, summer travel item, the Apple AirTag. Why do we need it?
If you put an Apple AirTag in your check bag, and, you know, God forbid, if something happens, it gets lost, you're able to track where your bag is. Even if the airline doesn't seem to be able to help you locate it, you'll be able to find where it is by slipping an AirTag into the bag and then connecting it to your phone.
That is such a clever idea. I love that. But I also love that you can also use it post summer travel, right? You can put it on your keys, on your wallet. So great for summer, but also great for everyday use. All right, and we cannot let you go without talking about the last item, essential for summer travel, this candle. Of course, your candle line. Can you tell me what the inspiration was behind the candle line?
So Hotel Lobby Candle was inspired by the scents inside 5-star hotels around the world, and each one of our candles really draws inspiration from a different place and a different kind of idea and moment. So the one you have right there is called Spa, and that was our most recent launch. It's probably one of the most highly anticipated launches we've had. I can tell by just looking at your face.
I love it. I love it.
When you smell it, it just automatically calms you. The scent is very fresh and it has water mint and eucalyptus and jasmine and just super relaxing and refreshing. And then I think you also have with you our Island candle, which I kind of consider a quintessential like summer candle. If you like coconut and vanilla and almond, this is going to be your favorite candle. We have a lot of people who've tried all of ours, and Island is their, number one favorite. That one, is that your favorite?
Linen? Yeah, okay, first of all, I love all of them, but yes, tell me about linen.
Yeah. So linen was inspired by that crisp, fresh linen that you get when you walk into your hotel room for the first time. But what I wanted to do is make it sort of different. We didn't want it to make it smell like a dryer sheet or something so expected. So we added a little sandalwood and a little bit of a smoky, rich, deep notes to it so that it just smelled really clean and fresh, but it had a little bit of depth.
Yeah.
And so that linen candle is really sexy. It's just, for also a lot of people, it's their number one favorite.
All right, Lindsay, I love all of these candles. It's hard for me to find a favorite, but do you have a favorite scent?
Right now, the Spa candle, I have had a very stressful week, and for me, the Spa candle just helps bring me back to a very calm place. I was saying before I saw your face when you smelled it, everyone has that reaction. When they smell it, it just automatically calms you. It's like aromatherapy. And I always tell people, put it next to your desk, put it next to your bed. We've designed the candles to smell even when they're not lit. So you're really getting that like hotel luxury spa experience all throughout the day whenever you're sitting next to it.
I like the idea that I don't even have to light it. Lindsay, this smells amazing. I wish everybody could smell it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for letting us know what we need for summer travel.
Thank you so much for having me. Good to see you and safe travels.
Yeah, same to you. Thank you, Lindsay. All right, now let's run through all the products one more time. The in-flight air mount, the handheld steamer, the folding LED mirror, the Apple AirTag, and the hotel lobby candles. And just so you know, Today works with affiliate partners and earns a commission on purchases made through our links at today.com. Up next, Chassie Post is going to share her go-to travel products in Style Finder. Don't go away.
Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
It's a can't-miss summer on Today.
They are walking strong.
Elegant and pretty easy to prepare.
How to cut costs on your vacation? Vicky has the answers.
Every single thing you need for the best summer yet.
Only on Today.
Women's basketball has been systematically held back. After 49 years of Title IX, we still have work to do.
In Their Court, a podcast from NBC News and NBC Sports that goes inside the issues of inequality in women's sports. Listen now.
The midterms are here. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about for the primary or general election, and you'll instantly get voting rules, see the next big deadline, and learn how to take action for your plan. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for 2022. Visit NBCnews.com/plan your vote today.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Yamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
it. These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Yamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Shop All Day contributor Chassie Post, and we've been talking about summer travel essentials, and I've got the hottest items that are stylish and functional while on the go. And remember, see the QR code in the corner of your screen? You can use the camera on your smartphone to scan it for instant access to the products on the show today, or you can text SHOP to the number below to shop all the products we're sharing with you today. So let's get to it. Okay, so I feel like you guys are getting a peek into my closet this episode because this set is a piece that I own and love. And believe me, I'm not alone. This two-piece jogger set is a huge fan favorite, and for good reason. This little set is super duper cute while being super duper comfortable. And you have probably heard me say it many times over, but I'm obsessed with sets. Why? Because it takes the guesswork out of getting dressed, and a fabulous set looks like a jumpsuit. I mean, how chic and effortless. Or mix and match the two separates with the rest of your wardrobe for endless options. So we've got an easy, slightly oversized top and flattering jogger-style pants that really come in handy when you're packing light, because you can wear it in so many different ways. And I love all the different sleeve lengths. I mean, it comes in a tank, it comes in a short sleeve, long sleeve. So all of this is key when you're on the go in the summer. Now, forgive the extreme enthusiasm, but I am in love with this dress. What a fabulously stylish and versatile and unbelievably affordable dress. And I'm always looking for an easy to pack, easy to wear dress when I'm planning a trip, and this one checks all the boxes and more. So first up, check out this silhouette. It's an easy, loose-fitting, midi-length tank dress. I mean, sign me up. With its pullover style and one-and-done appeal, it's the perfect go-to. Also, check out the hem. It's got a high-low hem. Secondly, color blocking, right? Color blocking is such a big trend these days, and we've got two of my favorite colors here right on this dress. Pink and magenta. I mean, pink on pink. doesn't get any better than that. And how amazing are these other colors? I mean, look, it's a neutral with a pop of orange, so good. We've also got navy with a pop of light blue at the bottom. And this dress can really go anywhere. Throw it in your suitcase, and when you get to your destination, you can wear it to the beach, you can wear it to the pool, you can wear it to brunch, you can wear it for a night out on the town. Now, another thing on my list when it comes to summer travel is a great pair of white sneakers. And these sneakers are about as good as it gets. I was so excited by this find that I snapped them up for myself, and I am thoroughly impressed. I mean, these chic sneaks get an A+ in both the comfort and style department, and I just love them. And here's why. First of all, a classic white sneaker in general has become a must-have wardrobe foundation piece, and they go with everything in your closet, from floral midi dresses and skirts to jeans to suits. But these sneakers have a few bells and whistles that make them an even better buy. The platform, I mean, look at this. I love a platform sneaker. You're seeing platforms everywhere this summer, but this is nothing crazy. It's about 1.5 inches. I love the elongating effect of a platform. Plus, it's easy to clean. And of course, the classic style. Who doesn't love a classic court shoe? Lace-up design, and this has also got cute metallic details. And one of my absolute favorite things about these sneakers is they have a memory foam insert, so they're incredible cushy on my feet. I should know because I wore them to this set today. And lastly, I think they look so great, plus incredibly stylish. And they're under $20. And trust me, no one's ever gonna know it. Now, if you've been wondering what the hottest new hat trend is gonna be for the summer, look no further because we've got it here, the visor. And shoppers are obsessed. Yes, the visor is trending big time thanks to the tennis court trend that we are seeing everywhere. But this season, visors aren't just for sports, though we love its sporty vibe. They're also for every day. You can wear them running around town, to the pool, to the beach, and of course on the tennis court and the golf course, right? And this stylish option is at the top of our wish list. And we love the fabulous straw material. Straw accessories are a really big trend this season, but it is also packable. That's right. You can roll this visor up and throw it in your carry-on or your suitcase or even in the back of your car. Now, in the summer, we show more skin. And if you don't already know about First Aid Beauty's Bump Eraser, then get ready to fall in love. This brand has some mega fans, and for good reason. Now, the hype around the KP Bump Eraser borders on obsession. In fact, according to the brand, 1 tube of the Bump Eraser is sold every 45 seconds globally. It is a huge bestseller and has over 48,000 likes, or should I say loves, on Sephora.com. So let me break this little skin wonder down. So the KP Bump Eraser is essentially a body scrub that features both chemical and physical exfoliators for serious skin polishing power. According to the brand, the ingredients include glycolic and lactic acids at a combined level of 10%. So this is going to help loosen the skin's top layer and decongest pores. And it also has pumice buffing beads that then help to whisk away dead skin. And shoppers also rave about how incredibly smooth their skin feels. And the cherry on top, this fabulous travel size. It's perfect for throwing in your bag and hitting the road. Last but not least, don't you just love a fashionable and functional travel gadget? I know I do. And this Lay and Go Cosmo Drawstring Makeup Organizer bag is as cute as it is clever. And here's what makes it so cool. It's a patented cosmetic bag that lays flat and allows you to see all of your makeup at once. And you can clean up in seconds. Just pull the drawstring cord and the Cosmo cinches up and closes for storage or travel. And it's got lots of really useful features. When it's open, the raised lip keeps makeup and brushes from rolling off the counter, and it also creates a clean and dry surface for you to do your makeup. It's also got zippered storage pockets and lots of brush holders, so you can fit a whole lot in this little bag. And we love that it's machine washable and wipeable, so key. Plus, it's great not just for vacation travel, but also for daily travel, you know, to the gym, office, you name it. So let's go through these products one more time, and you can use the QR code to get instant access to these items. We've got the two-piece jogger sweatshirt set, the PK knit dress with high-low hem, the white platform sneaker, the Belize It packable visor, the First Aid Beauty KP bump eraser, and the Lay and Go Cosmo Drawstring makeup organizer bag. And just so you know, Today works with affiliate partners and earns commission on purchases made through our links at today.com. That's a wrap on Style Finder and for our show. It's been fun showing you our favorites. So tune in next week for another episode of Shop All Day.
So this is not your normal office. You're leasing
this
place.
Is my office, actually. I had you in.
This is your staff?
Yeah. We joked when you walked in, John, that this was like a deposition.
Yeah.
Are you a little nervous right now?
I'm very nervous, yeah. I expect to be sued any moment. But where's the subpoena?
You've been in a few rooms like this in your life.
Oh, yeah.
It's never a good thing, is it, to be on the other side of the table from a panel that's...
No, when you have three lawyers on the other side and they're all frowning at you and they're trying to, get under your skin and make you say something you don't want to say or make you, that's not a good way to spend your time. I've done that a couple times, but I don't want to get sued. I've been sued a lot, and you have to deal with it. They're all frivolous. I've never paid a dime in damages, but just dealing with the negative energy of a lawsuit.
And it's for a guy who claims he came up with the idea for the firm or the Pelican Brief. And
oh yeah, we still get those letters.
Yeah.
I did one nonfiction book, The Innocent Man, and I got sued 4 times for that one. All frivolous. We won all 4 of them, but it took 2 years to get rid of them.
Yeah.
And you start paying lawyers to sit around tables like this, and they're not cheap, So I would prefer to avoid litigation.
Okay, let's do that. So that's the last we will speak of litigation. We
It's
are done.
fun to talk about.
We are done.
There are no
here.
pending suits right now.
Maybe that's why you got out of the law and got into this stuff, right?
A lot of reasons.
Writing books.
A lot of reasons.
Books. Sparring Partners is a novella, which is new for you, John. There are 3 stories, about 125, something like that, pages each of them. Why did you decide to take that approach this time?
The stories, all 3 stories have been around for a while. And I keep a lot of stories. And my usual novel is about 400 pages. That's what I like to read. These were not quite that long. There was not quite enough characters or action or plot in these 3 stories. So in an effort to get the stories published, and I love the stories, so let's publish them as 3 novellas. One of them takes place in 3 hours, Kid on Death Row.
Yeah.
They're just stories that have been around, and it's time to publish them.
One of the stories in here, Strawberry Moon, is, you mentioned it takes place over the course of a few hours, guy on death row.
Wow.
And I note that it ties into the work you do in your life as well with the Innocence Project and something that's important to you. What did you want to say in that story in Sparring Partners?
Up until about 10 or 12 years ago, the Supreme Court finally ruled that you cannot put minors on trial for capital murder. It's not fair. And the Supreme Court finally said, stop it. In this story, the kid went to trial at the age of 14, I think, for capital murder. He's found guilty. He's been on death row for 15 years. He's going to be executed at the age of 29, which is very young for a death row inmate to be killed. So the first issue is trying minors for capital crimes. The second one is, in this story, the kid didn't kill anybody. He never pulled a trigger. He was an accomplice. His brother pulled the trigger. And the point is, just because you're an accomplice doesn't mean you should be executed. You should be punished severely. But he never pulled the trigger. He didn't kill anybody. And that law that's not the law in every state. but in the majority of states. So I touched on the law a little bit there, but also I've been to death row in like 6 states, and those are not always fun visits. And I'm kind of fascinated by those stories and what an inmate goes through in the final few hours, and how they go about it, how the state goes about it, and the last minute appeals and the last meal, the last words. You know, we're rapidly approaching the point in this country where the death penalty is dying. There's so few executions now. There's so few death verdicts from juries. It will eventually go away.
You think so? It'll go away?
Yeah, well, in most places. Virginia abolished it 2 years ago, became the first southern state to do so in many years. What's happening is it's just juries just don't want to do it. Juries get to see the whole picture now. They get to see the horrible crime that deserves severe punishment. They also get to see the defendant and where he came from and how he reached that point. And so there's more sympathy now for someone who was raised like that. And so juries nowadays are much more willing to go life without parole, without killing the person.
Your work with the Innocence Project, I gather, is nearly as meaningful to you as writing a best-selling book. How important is that work to you?
Well, it's very important because I never knew there was a problem. Even as a small-town criminal defense lawyer, I never had a client I thought was wrongfully convicted or mistreated. I was naive. When I wrote The Innocent Man and had to research the issue, I realized that there are tens of thousands of innocent people in prison. And most people don't believe that, but it's true. And we're trying to get them out one at a time. I'm pen pals with some guys in prison still. One guy in Oklahoma has been there for 35 years. And we're trying to get him out, completely innocent. And it's heartbreaking. Those stories stay with me. And as a storyteller, they are fascinating stories because of the amount of injustice, suffering. Anywhere you have great suffering, you have great fiction. But the wrongful convictions are exonerations, the ultimate triumph after 30 years of walking out of prison and being able to survive in the world. And while somebody else was roaming free, while the real rapist or the real killer was out there, it's very gratifying, but it's also bittersweet because it happened. And it could have been prevented initially. Sweet because you're getting the guy out after a long time. But the work is it's pretty addictive.
And a lot of times it's because the guy or the woman didn't have money to hire a lawyer who could prevent him from going in there for 30 years. It's all so much socioeconomic undercurrent to all those cases.
You don't see any rich people on death row.
Yeah.
And oftentimes bad lawyering is a cause of the wrongful conviction. We try to fight for better legal representation for people charged with serious crimes. We all believe in a fair trial. We're Americans. Let's have a fair trial. Let's have a trial. Let's make it fair. But they're rarely fair because the state has all the resources. We fight to provide adequate representation for our clients.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top story with Tanya Tucker. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
It's a can't-miss summer on Today.
They are walking strong.
Elegant and pretty easy to prepare.
How to cut costs on your vacation? Vicky has the answers.
Every single thing you need for the best summer yet.
Only on Today.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
You were so fluent in the language of not only the law, but the shady side of the law. I'm not suggesting you were shady as an attorney, John, but did you see something along the way that you sort of stored away and said, these are the kind of characters I'm going to write about somewhere in your legal career, or just observing lawyers?
Oh, sure. I watch lawyers, and they're fascinating. I always have. Small town guys, big firm guys are really intriguing. The conflicts, the bad behavior, the law firms that blow up, the conflicts of interest. The lawyers are always doing things that are hard to believe. And I've said 1,000 times, most lawyers are honest, hardworking people who don't make a lot of money. They're boring. Nobody wants to read about that, okay? You want to read about the guy who cracks up and does something really crazy. And that's what's fun to write about and fun to read about. Jake is my favorite, you know, from Ford County. And I hope I go back there one day with Jake again to tell another courtroom drama. I love the courtroom as a spectator, not as a defendant. I like to write about courtroom dramas and the intrigue and the jury deliberations and the judges and all that kind of stuff. That's my world. That's where I like to live. Still, after 40 books, I still enjoy it.
So fun for your fans to see Jake back.
There are no more points of law to argue here. I want to cop a plea.
It'll take them back to A Time to Kill, and they'll think of Matthew McConaughey and all those things that really launched you to where you are right now. Did you love sitting down with him again and putting him in a new place?
Jake was a very autobiographical character. Yeah. When I wrote the story 35 years ago, I was that small town lawyer in Mississippi, very idealistic, dreaming of the big case, the big courtroom drama that would, you know, establish me as a badass trial lawyer. That was the dream, never happened. But I wrote that story from that point of view. Matthew took it to a whole different level.
You now have the opportunity to work on a case that matters.
Matthew became Jake because the movie was so popular and he was so good in the movie. And I waited 20 some odd years before I brought Jake back in a book called Sycamore Road. And we were pleasantly surprised at the reception that Jake got the second time he came back. And not only by critics, reviewers, but also by the sales numbers. People really like Jake. And most of that's because of Matthew. He made Jake famous. And after reviewing the sales numbers from Sycamore Row, I said, I'm not going to wait 24 years again. So I brought him back last year, 2 years ago, with a book called Time for Mercy, which is a really brutal courtroom murder case. And I've since realized that Jake is very popular. He makes an appearance in Homecoming for the first story in Sparring Partners, not in the courtroom, but as a friend who is helping a buddy try to return to town. But there's enough of Jake. He'll be back hopefully sometime soon. The challenge with Jake is that you want to see him in court. You want to see the courtroom drama. And a small town guy in Mississippi can only have so many big cases. He's not going to have a massive courtroom drama every other week, you know. So he's also growing up. He's maturing. His family's growing up. And so there'll be hopefully at least one more Jake novel.
I love your relationship with Matthew because that movie came along at a time people forget he was not well known as an actor at all. And you were kind of getting off the ground. The firm had blown up, but you were still rising yourself. It's fun to watch two guys who've reached sort of the zenith of their fields grow up together in a way.
Yeah, well, with a contract for A Time to Kill, I didn't sell the film rights for a long time. The first wave of movies came out. The Firm, The Pelican Brief, The Client, Chamber was not a big movie, Rainmaker with Matt Damon. Those movies came out in the early 1990s, and I wouldn't sell A Time to Kill. And finally, Joel Schumacher, who did The Client, convinced me to sell the film rights, and he was going to do A Time to Kill. And I said, okay, but I'm going to have veto power over some of the casting. I don't want to make the movie. I don't know how to make movies. I'm not going to write the screenplay. But I'm very protective of the character Jake and a couple of others in the book. And so I retained the absolute right to veto casting, which is very rare, but they gave it to me. And we got ready to film the movie, and we didn't have a star. And the money was on the table, and couldn't go wrong. Filming it in Mississippi with no star. And so they they called Matthew in for a quick screen test and filmed him sitting in the office smoking a cigar. And then back in the old days, they FedExed me the cassette overnight. We stuck it in the machine, and there was Matthew. And the accent was perfect because that's the way he talks, being from Texas. Charismatic, great-looking guy. Renee's first reaction was, I think I'm in love with him.
He said, I think we've got our guy.
Yeah, that's our guy.
A lot of the inspiration for the characters I know comes from the way you grew up, where you grew up, some people you knew. It was humble.
It was pretty modest. My father was a cotton farmer in rural Arkansas, and it was a pretty hard life. A lot of kids in the family. But at the same time, I had two parents who were devoted to each other, and they were always there. And we didn't have much. We didn't realize that. But the farming got to the point where Dad just couldn't, he never made a living. He lost crop after crop, and so he fled the farm. We fled the farm in the middle of the night with, I think, some unpaid bills. Right? By the time I was, 15 years old, life had improved greatly for us through my dad's hard work. And I captured that story in a book called A Painted House that came out 20 years ago, and I wanted to write that book while my parents were still alive because they were my resources. And we had a lot of fun doing that book, but it's very autobiographical, very accurate, but that's where I came from.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Yamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate it.
Women's basketball has been systematically held back. After 49 years of Title IX, we still have work to do.
In Their Court, a podcast from NBC News and NBC Sports that goes inside the issues of inequality in women's sports. Listen now.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
it. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
I'm not sure everybody knows the backstory of the book, A Time to Kill. You were an attorney, as you say, small town attorney looking for your big case. What made you think you could sit down and write a book that people might read about your experience having watched that trial in 1984 that motivated you to sit down and write?
I had no idea what I was doing. I had never written before. I had never thought about writing. It was not a childhood dream. It was not something I studied in college. It was just this obsession with a courtroom drama that I had sort of cooked up, inspired by something I really saw, but changed a bunch of the facts. And the more I thought about this courtroom drama, the more complicated it became, the more layers there were to it. And I finally said, okay, I'm going to see if I can write this. And that's started a process that went on for 3 years, which is not a long time in the course of writing a novel when you have a real job and you have other responsibilities. We had, I was practicing law. I was in the state legislature in Mississippi. Renee's having babies. Life was kind of complicated. But I hung with it. I hung with it for 3 years. And in my spare time, wherever I kept the current, it was all handwritten on legal pad. And after about a year and a half, I realized I was halfway through with my story as I envisioned it, the drama. And we had not yet got to the courtroom. I kept plugging away. Renee was reading it. She was very encouraging, keep going. No one knew about it but the two of us. Mm-hmm. And I had no grand plans to, get it published when I finished. It just, one thing led to and finally I was finished. And the trial was over. The verdict was in. And it was about 1,000 pages. My secretary typed it, began sending it to New York, back and forth, the old submission, rejection, long before the internet. And finally found an agent who liked it enough to, after a bunch of them said no, he took the book and he made the rounds in New York. And the same folks who'd already said no to me said no to him. So it got 2 looks. And then finally we found a small press to publish it. It came out in June of 1989. And they printed 5,000 hardback copies. And I bought 1,000 of them. And I didn't have any money, but I had more than my publisher. And
at least you're honest about that. People do buy their own books.
Yeah, I'd give them away.
Yeah.
They were stacked up in my office. Most of my clients couldn't afford a book, so I just gave them the book. But it was a wonderful time. And also at the same time, I got myself into the habit of writing every day. I tell students, if you want to write, do it every day. You don't dream about it, just do it. And I had this idea for the second book, or another book, that I really liked, and Renee really liked it. She thought it was much more accessible, much more commercial, and that was The Firm. And when The Firm came out in March of 1991, over 30 years ago, things changed overnight. I was suddenly bored with the law, bored with the politics. I said, okay, I'm going to write. The dream has come true. I can write full time.
And because it was purchased, right, the movie rights, before it even came out, did you have a sense when somebody bought those rights that this was going to change everything for you? Did it feel like a big moment?
We had 3 big studios bidding for the film rights. At the last minute, somebody said, hey, should we check with the writer? So they called me at the last moment. I had no clue. There was no book deal. I wasn't sure the book was going to get published. Wow. And then once we got the movie deal, the publishers woke up in New York and everybody wanted the book.
Did you and Renee have a moment? I mean, there are moments along the way, I know with my wife, where we go, wow, life is changing a little bit for us. This is exciting. We built this together. Do you remember that moment?
Oh, yes. We've had several great moments, but when I hung up the phone and I told Renee what the deal was for the film rights, we were due to go to my mother's house for Sunday lunch. We both grew up in very conservative, tight Southern Baptist households, okay? A lot of rules. One rule was you never talked about family money outside the family. We'll talk about selling the film rights, but we are never going to discuss the money. First thing Monday morning, Paramount Pictures issued a press release with all the details in it. So it took a couple days for that to get back to our hometown, and that changed everything.
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate it.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Yamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Yamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson. Streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
You know, I've always wanted to sit and talk with you because I was in high school when The Firm came out. I remember flipping through that and saying, oh, this is fun. This is fun. Reading is fun. Do you appreciate the impact you've had on people reading when you've sold 350 million books, on making reading accessible and exciting and fun for people who may not otherwise have stepped through that door?
Yeah, it's hard to gauge the impact that that you may have on people, but a lot of people have said nice things, just like you just said something nice about enjoying the reading. I've got a pretty good feel for, you know, what it has meant to certain people. I have a lot of faithful readers, and they want that big legal thriller every October, and I'm going to come through as long as I can. They'll tolerate me writing something else, a baseball novel or the kids' books or a funny story like Skipping Christmas, but they want that legal thriller every October. And those fans have been loyal for 30 years now. I want to give those people the best book they've had yet, the best reading experience they've had yet. And that's my goal. I stay motivated to give them every time out. You know, it's hard to get my head around 300 million books in 50 languages. It's always a fun moment when we're traveling somewhere, some out-of-the-way place, and you sit at a little bookstore and you'll see a book, you know, another language, or a big bookstore in, you know, in European cities to see a Grisham shelf, you know, and yeah, we always stop and point and smile and make a joke and keep going. Years ago when things were getting really crazy, and there was a 3 or 4 year period, 91, 92, 93, when the books were coming out, but also the movies were coming out, and life was really, we were losing privacy that we realized how much we cherished our privacy. And so we were making adjustments in life, but we sat down one time and said, look, everything in popular fiction is temporary. You know, nothing's going to last forever. Whether it's books or TV or movies or sports or fashion or whatever. In the popular culture, nobody stays on top forever. It's all a temporary career. One of these days, the books are not going to be as popular as they are now. Things are going to change, and when that happens, let's admit it and realize it. Let's be able to look back and say, it was a heck of a ride. We had a lot of fun, and we didn't change. We kept our feet on the ground. We raised great kids, and so we're still waiting for the books are still selling. The books are still popular.
You mentioned your process that you start on January the 1st. Wake up, time for a new book. You want to end it by July the 1st. I note by the clock that I'm eating into your writing time.
I've got it.
7 a.m.
I got a month.
Is it those fans that keep you getting up every New Year's Day to write a new one? Or are there ever moments where you go, gosh, I'm take a year off. I've done enough of these.
I've thought about taking a year off. The motivation is, again, after writing for 35 years, it's a daily habit. And there's nothing else I can find to do in the morning between 7 and 11, 7 and 12. I can't fill those hours any other way that I've found yet. So I still cherish those moments, the early morning hours, going to my little writing cabin with no phones, no fax, no music, no internet, no interruptions, and being able to create stories that bring a lot of pleasure to a lot of people. I could have quit 20 years ago. But it's not about money. It's about being able to entertain and bringing pleasure to a lot of people. I still get a kick out of that.
Are you like the rest of us? Do you stare at the screen some days and there's just nothing coming? You just drink your coffee and look at it, walk away?
Some days are slower than others. No, my goal every day is 1,000 words.
1,000 a day?
Yeah, 1,000 a day. I don't stare for long. Also, when I start the book, I've got a pretty good outline, so I know what's going to happen next. And again, I tell aspiring writers, you can waste a lot of time if you don't know where you're going. And if you always know where you're going, it's hard to get lost.
And you know the end before you start.
That's one of my rules of writing popular fiction. Don't write the first scene until you know the last scene. I talked to John Irving in Toronto a couple of years ago, and I said, is it true that you've said that you write the last sentence before you write the first one? And he said, that's true. Wow. I said, I'm not that smart, but I do know the last scene before I start.
Do you ever see a day, John, where you stop, you say, I've done it, I've sold all the books I'm going to sell, I've given the people what they want for 30-some years, I'm done?
I can't see that day yet. I'm only 67 years old. If I stay healthy and stay, inspired creatively, I hope I can do it for a long time. But again, I can't. I've learned a few things. You never can predict what's going to happen next. You can't worry about what's already happened, and never say never. I've said I'll never write that story again. Well, I wrote it. So I've learned that, be careful what you say. I'm not going to say I'm never going to retire. But I think there comes a time with some writers I've always admired, as they get up in the years, it's time to quit. I hope I have the sense to do that. And I get pretty good advice at home.
Well, I hope it keeps going. I hope you wake up every January 1st and keep writing the books. We love it. It's great to see you.
Thank you, Willie. My pleasure.
Thanks, John.
Good seeing you. Take care.
Thank you.
Friends, welcome. This is your Popstar Plus for today. We appreciate your business. All right, coming up. We spoke with the cast of a very buzzy show. It's taken over TikTok. It's called The Summer I Turned Pretty, and the young and talented cast gave us the full scoop. And calling all Stranger Things fans. No spoilers, don't worry. But Sadie Sink, who plays Max on Stranger Things, was in our building. And of course, we had to ask her everything that she could tell us about this 4th volume of the show. So we'll show you that. And later, we're continuing our love for the one and only Harrison Ford. We're going to go back to the 80s for his 80th, a flashback to his Raiders of the Lost Ark days. That is still all to come, but first, here are today's Popstar headlines. Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, who also happens to be the Chief Impact Officer of the Better Up Company, is out with a new project called Transform with Mental Fitness. The film is created to drive awareness on how a mental fitness practice can be beneficial regardless of background or even profession. We've got an exclusive first look here in the clip. You'll see Prince Harry sitting down with record-setting Olympian Chloe Kim to chat about a proactive approach to mental health.
How would you describe the relationship between the mind and the body when it comes to operating at peak performance?
It would be unrealistic for me to expect to go out there and, land an amazing run, learn a new trick if I wasn't feeling good mentally. And I can't expect myself to perform at my peak when I am doubting myself and I'm feeling negative emotions. If I'm not feeling good mentally, then it will jeopardize my physical health. And they go hand in hand.
Love to see those conversations happen. You can check out more of that when you head over to today.com. All right, next up, Leah Michele. Don't rain on her parade. The actress just landed the role of Fanny Brice in Broadway's Funny Girl, and it's a part 13 years in the making for her. We remember her take on Barbra Streisand's iconic character during her time in Glee, and of course, this number from the show's very first season.
Eye on the target and wham! One shot, one gunshot, and bam! Hey, Mr. Honesty.
That's Savannah's favorite TV moment of all time.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, everyone should watch that today.
That's awesome.
They should do a duet. Can we do that? I would watch that.
I can't sing, but it's so awesome.
That's
She's
amazing. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, the casting news comes just one day after current Fanny Brice, Beanie Feldstein, announced that she would be departing from the show at the end of July, earlier than originally planned. Feldstein writing online that she had made the decision to leave the production. That decided to go in, quote, a different direction. As for the rest of the Funny Girl cast, there aren't any plans for a Glee reunion that we know of on stage. Michelle's former co-star Jane Lynch is set to wrap up her run as Miss Brice before she joins the cast in September.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
So I guess she was Mrs. Bryce.
Yes, Mrs. Bryce.
But then Lea Michelle's coming.
Will be in, yes,
Okay,
when
got it.
it's available. Next up, Tim McGraw. Even though he's been busy lately starring alongside Faith Hill in the Yellowstone prequel series, which is great in 1883, he's still finding some time to do new music. Tim told Country Music Countdown's Lon Helton he's already laid down 8 new songs. McGraw teasing his upcoming music, saying, "I'm always looking to beat what I did last time. I'm sure we're going to have something off the new album here, hopefully before too long. But when that actually might be, McGraw's not giving us any details."
Summer concert.
Yeah, we need him here. We need Tim McGraw here.
We just need to debut some of that new music right on the plaza.
That's right. He can sit here on the couch.
Yeah. We can play on the couch.
We can show him how to do it with the pillows.
With the pillow. Don't you feel better?
The pillow feels better.
It does.
He can have the couch. He can take it with him. Next up, Simone Biles. Even after taking home Olympic gold, World Championship medals, and a Presidential Medal of Freedom, it turns out that Simone's still able to blend in with a crowd. Biles recently releasing this picture to her Instagram story, captioning the post, "Not the flight attendant trying to give me a coloring book when I bored." Let's put that picture up. I said, "No, I'm good. I'm 25. That's right. Team USA superstar Simone Biles was mistaken for a child on that flight. Do you not have the picture?
We might have.
And now this screen grab is going viral. Folks on Twitter showing support by sharing their stories of being mistaken for a kid because of their height. One 36-year-old writing, "Checking in at 5 feet tall. Within the last couple of years, I was offered the children's menu and crayons when I was out to dinner with my now wife and a friend. There you go. Great things.
Oh, funny. That was funny. Yeah.
And that's the latest you need to know from today. Still coming up, we've got the buzz on a new show that everybody seems to be talking about. It's called The Summer I Turned Pretty. Stay tuned.
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
It's a can't miss summer on Today.
They are walking strong, elegant, and pretty easy to prepare.
How to cut costs on your vacation? Vicky has the answers.
Every single thing you need for the best summer yet.
Only on Today.
The midterms are here. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about for the primary or general election, and you'll instantly get voting rules, see the next big deadline, and learn how to take action for your plan. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for 2022. Visit NBCnews.com/planyourvote today.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Welcome back to Popstar Plus. If you are looking for a show that's full of romantic beach vibes, look no further than The Summer I Turned Pretty. We've had this one on our Swiftie radar because the trailer features Taylor's version of her 2014 track, This Love. So the new show is about a summer love triangle, and it's from creator and executive producer Jenny Han. Han and the young cast spoke to us about why the show and the books that they're based on resonate with so many people. Take a look.
My family spends every summer in Cousins Beach with my mom's best friend and her 2 sons, Conrad and Jeremiah.
The Summer I Turned Pretty is about a girl's coming of age. It's about her having one magical summer where a lot of dreams come true and also don't come true.
But this summer,
See you guys later.
it's different.
Damn, you look hot. Stop flirting with my sister.
I play Belly. She is a 15, almost 16-year-old girl who is entering sort of this new chapter of her life. I felt that I could relate to her a lot, being, a teenager myself and being 16 not too long ago and still sort of being in that period of so much change and really still figuring out like who I am and what my path looks like. So I really love being able to bring that to life in her shoes.
Susanna told me she knew I was destined for one of her boys. I always hoped it would be Conrad, but then there was Jeremiah.
You're my best friend.
The love triangle is, I mean, it's really special. She has this incredible connection that is so different with these two boys, and they're such important parts of her life. She has such different love for each of them, but I think that was a lot of fun to explore and to sort of, figure out with Chris, who plays Conrad, and Gavin, who plays Jeremiah, and then with Jenny too, because she's the one who wrote it. So everyone will have their own opinion about who they favored. But I think when it comes down to it, it's all Belly's decision and what she truly feels in her heart.
What's special about the love triangle is that it's messy. Is that it's young, it's passionate. And when things happen quickly, it leaves a lot of room for people to make mistakes. And a lot of room for people to try and cover up their mistakes with more mistakes. And just the snowball effect of things happening and the way that things affect each other and other people outside of the love triangle, and how the rest of the world affects them. And I think my favorite part of playing Conrad was just trying to figure him out. Because he's sort of an enigma. And I had a long time from when I got cast to when we started filming. And it took me the whole time to really love him, which I do. But to be able to just find his ins and out, what makes him tick, why he's so mean sometimes, it was fun as an actor, really fun.
Jeremiah is so special to me because he is that life of the party. He is that golden retriever, and he really does try to care for everyone that's in his life. And I think sometimes that's at his own peril, and I think that his insecurities and his lack of confidence and trying to find out who he is in life and in all of his relationships, I think was so much fun, and it was just so special to explore that on film.
I play Steven, a handsome yet vain high achiever. He's real snarky, and he's an older brother with a lot of love. I think that's a big defining characteristic. He leads with his heart, and that's probably my favorite part of playing him. That no matter what the situation is, it always comes from here.
Yeah, we spent an absurd amount of time together. Sean and I lived across the street from each other, and we would just drive each other to work to spend more time with each other, to a point where we each got stuck at set a few times with no way home because the other person got cut early that day. But it was worth it because then we got to spend more time together.
Yeah.
Always worth it.
Boys might come and go, but a best friend is once in a lifetime.
I think that The Summer I Turned Pretty really celebrates friendship between two women, and how you actively make the choice to choose each other again and again. With Laurel and Susanna in this beach house and the world that they've created for themselves and for their kids, it's a choice that they make because they go back there every summer, and they are each other's person. And then we get to see some friendship on the teen side with Belly and Taylor, and as you grow up, I think you realize in many ways you're very different people, and you think, if I met this person now, we might not be friends, but there is some connection between the two of you where you will always really value and treasure that person because they've known you before you were you. And I think, so it's sort of different aspects of friendship. Cousins is inspired by a lot of different beaches. I would say Cape Cod is probably the main one in my head because I was spending a lot of time in Cape Cod when I was writing the books, but I also spent time on Martha's Vineyard and the Hamptons and the Nags Head, which is in North Carolina. So I think I borrowed something from all of those beaches, and I think it's why these books have really resonated with people all over, because everybody has a beach where they're from or that they've been to as a kid. So people in Sweden or in Vietnam, can kind of imagine their own beach.
There's something in the show for everyone. I think that there's a relationship between the parents, between the guys, between the girls, the guys and girls, and I think there's so much to explore for everybody.
Well, guess what? You're in luck. We've got more with the show's rising star, Lola Tung. She spoke to Hoda and Michelle Collins about taking on her first series role.
Everywhere I turn, people are talking about the hit Prime Video show, The Summer I Turned Pretty. We cannot wait to catch up with its breakout star, Lola Tung.
Okay, Lola plays Isabel, a teenager navigating a drama-filled summer with childhood crushes, beach bonfires, and the occasional dip in the pool. Take a look.
1, 2, 3. How's the water? Guys, I hurt my ankle. Come on.
Good to go, girl. Lola, hi! We should point out, before we get started, this is your very first acting role. And is this your very first television appearance?
It is, yes.
Wait, what?
Wow. Very excited to be
How
here.
do you feel in this moment that you're in?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm thrilled.
How
I'm excited
happy are
to be
you that I'm here?
Yes.
That's really the question. You must be over the moon. That's great.
Well, Lola, we're so excited for you. So every now and then, like, a moment happens in your life. You're busy going to college, doing your thing, and all of a sudden, in a minute, your life changes. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, I was in my second semester of my first year of college at Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh, and I had just started working with my manager, and she sent me this audition and was like, I think, you know, you'd be really right for it. And I sent in tapes, but I, was very focused on school and my
What were you
education.
studying?
I was studying acting.
Acting. Okay, good.
But yeah, I was very focused on school, and I sent in these tapes, and then I heard that they wanted me to test for the role and to read for the role, and I was like, oh my God, this could, really be something possibly.
Change your life, I feel.
Yeah.
How jealous were your freshman classmates that you got an Amazon show? I have to imagine they were furious.
Everyone was so supportive and so wonderful. Yeah.
I watched the show.
Yeah, tell me.
I have to say, it made me feel young. I felt like I was in camp, like it was like high school summer. I mean, how, I want to ask, shooting it.
Yeah.
Had to do, feel as fun shooting it as it felt to watch it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And everyone in the cast is amazing and wonderful, and we had the best time on and off set.
Well, by the way, it's two hunky guys are fighting over you. That's kind of a cool role to be in.
Yeah.
Tell me about that part.
Yeah, I mean, both Chris, who plays Conrad, and Gavin, who plays Jeremiah, are wonderful people and so easy to work with and so much fun to just be around. So I feel very lucky that, we had such a wonderful friendship, and it worked out great. I think.
And you think everyone would want to date on the show after?
Well, that's the thing.
I mean, really fun.
Yeah,
right?
well, sometimes it can get, but,
That's what I want to know about. See, that's why you're so good. What happened backstage, behind the scenes?
We all just hung out together, and we really, I made some incredibly close friends who I think I'll be close with for a really long time.
I was just imagining what your folks might say, or think. Your mom is here. She's actually in the building. She's downstairs. What does she think of this turn of events? And were they all for you leaving college and taking this role?
Yeah, both of my parents and really my whole family has just been so supportive throughout the entire thing, and they know that I love it and that I'm passionate about acting and about the show, and so they were incredibly supportive. And
by the way, this show, which I've never heard of this happening, got a second season pickup before it even aired.
How was that possible?
I mean, I don't get it.
Jenny Han's incredible. Writer, showrunner, creator. She's amazing. And
so you're in acting school and you're learning all the things that actors need to know, and then you get tapped in the middle of acting school to actually go act. You have to memorize lines. And I don't know, do you have a photographic memory? How do you remember lines?
I mean, I think it's just a matter of running through them, and we usually get new sides, or sides every morning, and you kind of work on those in the morning.
Do you have a technique that you use?
I feel like not really. Nothing's but Yes. I do like to juggle to help me memorize.
Okay, so tell me how that works in your brain. So you are juggling and...
I don't know if it's just the repetition of it that sort of helps it.
Show me, how do you do it?
Oh, gosh, okay.
That's okay.
Oh, now I'm nervous.
I know. No, there's no pressure.
Okay, this is amazing. You're very, very
You're
good.
very
I
good.
can't believe
The
it.
lights. No, but yeah.
So you're thinking of the lines as you're doing
Yeah,
it?
usually I'm kind of just in my trailer, just going over the lines, and I don't know, maybe it's
Do
just
people
kind of.
watch you when you do it, or are you like
Not
private?
usually. It's
yeah, I
kind
would
of
think
just
private.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. By the way, this is such a fun moment in your career, and we feel so lucky that we got to have your very first television interview.
Thank you so much.
Well, we're so proud of you.
It's a great show.
Congratulations.
You're fabulous on it. Very likable. You know, you watch her, you like her.
Well, that was cool. We appreciate hearing from Lola. We should mention the Summer I Turned Pretty is available on Prime Video. All right, speaking of buzzy shows, Stranger Things star Sadie Sink brings us into the Upside Down. Next.
Top story with Tanya Tucker, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top story with Tanya Tucker, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
Top story with Tanya Tucker, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
The midterms are here. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about for the primary or general election, and you'll instantly get voting rules, see the next big deadline, and learn how to take action for your plan. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for 2022. Visit NBCnews.com/plan your vote today.
Top story with Tanya Tucker, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
And welcome back to Popstar Plus. Sadie Sink has returned as Max Mayfield in the hit show Stranger Things, and she gave Hoda and Justin Sylvester a recap on what it was like to bring these dark episodes to life.
As soon as the final 2 episodes of Stranger Things season 4 dropped, Netflix crashed and caused a whole bunch of havoc for diehard fans.
I had to call in a favor to watch it. And this just in, the latest season of the hit series just hit a major milestone, topping 1 billion hours of viewing.
Okay, well, front and center is this season is Max. It's played by the very talented Sadie Sink. Max is being targeted by the evil
Vecna.
Oh, yes. So she has to come up with a plan to keep him from taking over her mind. Let's take a look.
I just need to push him away, find a happy memory, and hide there. Hide in the light.
You got a memory in mind?
Yeah. It was a time when I was happiest.
I mean...
Okay, first of all, Sadie, hi. Secondly, Justin's mad at you because he missed part of his vacation in Mexico because he was watching your show.
Watching your show.
I told you sorry before. I'm still sorry. I'm sorry.
But you were shocked because you didn't know about the 1 billion views.
No, I just found out this morning that Netflix crashed, apparently.
Yeah, it crashed.
No one told me. That's wild.
Now, what I love about you is not only are you a star of the show, but you are like an avid viewer of the show. You enjoy it just like the rest.
Yeah, because I mean, my character didn't come on until season 2, so I watched season 1 in like a day and was a huge fan. So even though I know what happens in the show, I still watch it. I'm like so excited to watch it every year.
It's so crazy because there's a lot of Emmy buzz around this show, but Winona Ryder has been praising your acting skills She called you a young Meryl Streep.
We hate to say it, but
Come on.
we gotta say it.
No, that's too big of a comparison to make, I think. But I mean, Winona's incredible, and she's so amazing to work with and to have as kind of like a role model for us kids. So to hear her like supporting us in the show in that way, that means a lot.
Oh my! How old are you?
I'm 20.
Like you are.
I had to think about. I'm
You know
20.
what I love? You come from a family of how many siblings do you have?
I'm one of 5
One
kids.
of 5.
Yeah.
And another one of your siblings is an actor as
Yes.
well. What do your parents think, or when they watch you? What is that like for them to see you blossom?
I mean, it was always me and my brother Mitchell. Like we were just kind of like the weird kids who would like make our family like, you know, sit down and watch our like 10-minute long productions that we'd like choreograph and direct together. But then it actually, I think we just took it a little too far or something. But like our parents are incredibly supportive, our whole family really, and I think me going through it with my brother really helped. It was because it was like the two of us together.
For sure.
So, yeah.
But how do you guys, because I know a lot of siblings who are in the entertainment business, they get a little competitive. And they get a little jealous. How do you guys just stay grounded and stay in that team mentality?
I don't think there's never been any competitiveness between us at all. We're very supportive of each other. So yeah, he's my best friend in the world. So.
Oh. Okay, can we talk about Taylor Swift?
Yes.
Okay, you adore her. She chose you to be in her video. That's incredible. How did you get the phone call, and tell us about that moment?
Well, I didn't think it was real at first. I guess she was a fan of the show and then had me in mind for the All Too Well video, and so she reached out, and I was like, of course I'll do it.
And what was it like hanging out with her?
Did you get invited to the 4th of July party?
I've heard about these 4th of July parties. She's such a grounded, genuine person. So to have someone like that I can look up to, like,
What's your go-to Taylor song that you love?
Ooh, right now it's August.
Yeah, that's a great great song.
That is a good one. But I want to know, because that's a good question. But in the show, when you go to when Vecna comes for you, you have to play this song. Running Up the Hill by Kate Bush is like the jam. But if you had to choose one song to get out of that nightmare, which one would you choose? Because mine would be Push It by Salt and Pepper. Okay?
That's good.
I get around from a lot of people with Push It going on.
Yeah. I mean, I've been saying August. Also, this is Instant Crush by Daft Punk would be a good one for me.
Daft Punk is a good one.
What's yours?
What would I do? I would probably do...
Bad Girls. Talking about bad girls, bad girls. Talking about bad... You were like, I don't even know what that is.
By the way, you're incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations on all of your success. We're so happy for you.
Thank you so much.
So beautiful.
What an impressive young lady. What a popular show. So thanks, Sadie. We should mention that you can find Volume 4 of Stranger Things on Netflix, but something tells me you already knew that. Coming up, we've got a glimpse of Harrison Ford during his Raiders of the Lost Ark days that you're going to not want to miss.
Women's basketball has been systematically held back. After 49 years of Title IX, we still have work to do.
In Their Court, a podcast from NBC News and NBC Sports that goes inside the issues of inequality in women's sports. Listen now.
Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Women's basketball has been systematically held back. After 49 years of Title IX, we still have work to do.
In Their Court, a podcast from NBC News and NBC Sports that goes inside the issues of inequality in women's sports. Listen now.
Top Story with Tanya Tucker. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Welcome back. Harrison Ford is unmistakable as Indiana Jones ahead of his milestone 80th birthday. We thought we'd take a little look back here at him discussing Raiders of the Lost Ark, his first film where he stars as the adventuring archaeologist. And he did this right here on Today back in 1981. Take a look.
A great deal of it comes from the actor, or from me in this case. And it doesn't always happen that way unless there's the right atmosphere, and unless the director wants that input. The actor's capable of giving it, and the circumstances are correct for them to work together. And in this case, that was certainly true. It was a very collaborative feeling between Stephen and I.
Harrison is contributing so much to the writing of the script, to the story, to just the general feeling of the film. He probably, I'm not going to get too superlative here because I work with some incredibly inventive actors, but he's one of the most inventive actors I've ever worked with, who deals on a level that is so human and so identifiable. His ideas are all of our ideas.
There's great precedent for reinventing things in the movie business. And as much as they are based on, at least in these guys' minds, on certain efforts from the past, they themselves have made something totally new.
God, it's really cool to see that all these years later. Happy early birthday to you, Mr. Ford. All right, another Pop Star Plus for you. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again tomorrow. So long.
Oh, looky. Today All Day viewers. We're so happy you're here. We're happy you're tuning into our digital show Today in 30.
Nice to have you along with us on a Thursday morning. Got a lot of great segments for you in this half hour. First, we want to talk about something that every single person is dealing with, inflation. The numbers are out. We have not seen a spike like this since 1981. So coming up, we're going to let you know if and when any relief may be in sight. We're also going to share some supermarket strategies, some real smart ones that could save you a lot of money on groceries.
And then, Savannah, you have a very intimate conversation with former Arizona Congresswoman Gabby Giffords and her husband, Mark Kelly.
I do. Gabby is one of my hometown heroes. She is sharing her remarkable story about her long road to recovery in a new documentary. You've never seen her like this. She remains the most optimistic and determined person I think I've ever known, and looking really forward to this conversation with her.
All that plus hairstylist to the stars Chris Appleton. He swung by the fourth hour, gave us 3 of our viewers hair makeovers, and he's trying to teach all of us to embrace the gray.
Oh, says 2 fake blondes.
We don't think so.
Not here.
Okay, but
he's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, it's time for
Today in 30.
First, we begin, like we do many mornings, with Tom Costello. He's got the latest. Hey, Tom, good morning.
Hey, guys, good morning. So listen, we are not alone in the world, right? We are paying high prices. The rest of the world is. We'll get to that in a minute. But most of the country does not need an official stat to tell us what we see and pay and feel every single day. We are paying more for everything. Housing, as you mentioned, clothing, gasoline. And have you been to the grocery store lately?
It's happening coast to coast. Consumers are feeling the pain in their wallets, with annual inflation hitting its highest point in nearly 41 years. Among the everyday staples over the past year, higher costs for chicken and beef, a gallon of milk up nearly 60 cents, and the price for a dozen eggs increasing by more than $1. But it's not just what we eat. Prices are also going up for clothing, housing, and utilities. At this food pantry in San Diego County, families are stocking up on the essentials. Some of them first-time visitors.
I'm out of work right now, and so is my wife, so we really need this.
Before the pandemic, the San Diego Food Bank served about 350,000 families. Now, adding in inflation, they're up to 500,000 every month. it's a struggle for them as well.
When donations are down, the food bank has to buy food. And that food is a lot more expensive today than it was 2 years ago.
And across America, one of the biggest pain points has been gas prices. But there may be some good news. They seem to be easing slightly, down 41 cents on average from a month ago. But still, many are feeling the pinch this summer as some families are now modifying their vacation plans.
The cost doubled. It was going to cost us over $2,000 just to get there and back with fuel prices.
Instead of going to the Grand Canyon, Amber Dowdy and her family decided they are going to stay in Michigan.
I like to think that we postponed it and that maybe it will happen again soon, maybe next summer. But who knows at this point?
All of it as economists are hyper-focused on the Federal Reserve, now expected to raise interest rates even higher to bring inflation under control.
The Fed really has only one tool. They just have one screwdriver. They can tighten, they can loosen. If what you need is a saw or a hammer, they don't really have that tool.
All right, what does that mean? It means that the Fed is likely to raise rates again this month, 3/4 of a point, maybe even a full percentage point coming September. We mentioned that we are not alone in the world. Our friends in Canada and Mexico, they're also paying about 8% inflation rates right now. The UK, about 9%, and in the Eurozone, 8 to 9% depending on the country. So this is clearly a global problem, and there are so many reasons as we have kind of spelled them all out over the last few months. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, the perfect storm, Tom. Thank you very much. And here to dive into those numbers and to tell us if any relief can be expected, Melissa Lee, host of CNBC's Fast Money. Melissa, good morning. So, I mean, peering into these numbers, the question is, as what the Fed does, has any of the policy changes that have gone into effect done anything to ease inflation? If you look at those numbers, the answer would seem to be no.
Policy can only do so much, Savannah, and there are components of inflation where Fed policy will not do anything. For instance, housing prices. Certain things are sticky. Housing prices are one of them. You sign a lease for a year, so you don't see things change. You don't see that price go lower right away, even if everything else in the world is going lower. The direction over the long term will be lower, but what the Fed is doing is not going to impact that. Also, companies are raising prices. Some prices are sticky. They just don't move as quickly as what's going on in the macroeconomic, world. And so those prices will remain high.
Well, the administration says, okay, that 9.1% figure obviously is stunning, but they say gas prices have fallen 40 cents in the last month. That's true. Are these numbers in any way not reflecting this incremental progress that, say, the White House is pointing to?
There is some progress, and that is the good news. We're seeing commodity costs come down. So, for instance, as Tom had mentioned, the average price of a gallon of gasoline has edged lower since the middle of June. Oil prices are at 4-month lows. Commodities from wheat to corn to lumber, they've all come well off of their highs by double-digit percentages. But again, certain prices are sticky. It's going to take a while for consumers to see those declines in commodities flow through to those finished goods. We just heard from PepsiCo. You know Pepsi, they make Frito-Lays, they make Doritos.
Yeah.
They just reported their quarterly results. They said that they were able to put on a 12% increase across their product portfolio on average, and consumers are willing to pay it.
The bottom line, they're raising prices and people are paying the higher prices. And that to me is the irony of all of this, that they say in your business, higher prices cure higher prices.
Right.
So is it really about when consumers just say, I'm not going to buy that anymore, or I can't buy that anymore?
It is.
That's when prices come down?
It is. And you see that in the housing market. That's what the Fed is hoping to accomplish, for instance, in the housing market, which we talked about. If they raise interest rates, mortgage rates go higher, consumers are priced out of the housing market. They don't buy that house. They're throwing a little bit of grit in the wheels of the economy, and they're hoping that will work to bring that demand down.
At the same time, not wanting to put sludge in the economy and cause a recession. So
cause the wheels to stop entirely.
Yes, that's a delicate business. Melissa, thank you very much.
Each day around this time, we're going to bring you stories that are aimed at saving money. And these days, the cost of food is taking a bigger bite out of the monthly budgets.
Oh, boy, is it. We don't have to tell you, grocery prices at an all-time high. All of the essentials cost more, but there are some easy ways to save big.
So to help you save, NBC's Erin McLaughlin went shopping with an expert. She's live to share some supermarket strategies with us this morning. Hey, Erin, good morning.
Good morning, guys. We all know the price of groceries is crazy these days, but that doesn't mean you can't save, and in many cases, save big. Sky-high prices at the grocery store now busting family budgets across America.
This is a game changer for your grocery bill.
But food shopping guru Gina Zachariah says with simple strategies, you can still save. She cut her family's monthly grocery bill by 75%.
I went from spending $1,200 a month to $400 a month.
For a family of 4?
Yes.
Gina shares her grocery tips on TikTok and says saving at the grocery store starts before you leave the house. Tip number 1, organize your food so everything is visible and accessible. How does this save you money?
So nothing goes to waste because I can see everything I have at a glance and I'm not buying things I don't need.
Tip number 2, research the best deals and prices. She says price comparison apps like Flip show you what items are on sale and give you digital deals on your favorites.
That app actually helps me figure out, is it going to be a good price if I were to buy it now, or should I wait until the next sale?
Then, based on available deals, she makes a shopping list and maps out her meals for the week. Now it's time to shop. We went to Pavilions, where we put tip number 3 into action. Buy key items in bulk, such as block cheese, garlic, herbs, and onions.
Absolutely go with the bulk. You're gonna save money, and then I can use them for something that I call batch prep, which is basically to put them in a food processor, chop them at once, and then freeze them.
Next, look at the price per unit when comparing options. And it shows the unit price.
It'll show the unit price right here.
Why is price per unit important?
Because that's how you can compare deals across the board and know that you're getting a good deal.
Look at these identical crackers. One's a name brand, the other a store brand.
Right now, you're going to be able to save more than 50% just by getting the store brand.
That's a big difference.
It really is, and it does add up.
She says store brands typically have the same ingredients as name brands.
90% of the time, they're manufactured in the same warehouse. They just have different labels on them.
And if your favorite foods aren't on sale this week, Gina says never fear. Most items get discounted every 6 to 8 weeks. Some serious savings happening. Well done.
Well done, for real. I need to get Gina to come shopping with me. Aaron, for meat lovers out there, any specific money-saving tips for them?
Yeah, Craig, this is a good one. Gina says look for the manager's specials on meat. That's often heavily discounted meat because it's going to expire in a few days. Gina says she brings it home, puts it in the freezer, makes sure to label the freezer bag with that expiration information so when she thaws it, she knows how long she has to eat it. She says she saves 30% on things like beef and chicken. Craig?
All right, Aaron McLaughlin, great tips there. Thank you,
Thanks, Aaron.
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Women's basketball has been systematically held back. After 49 years of Title IX, we still have work to do.
In Their Court, a podcast from NBC News and NBC Sports that goes inside the issues of inequality in women's sports. Listen now.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
The midterms are here. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about for the primary or general election, and you'll instantly get voting rules, see the next big deadline, and learn how to take action for your plan. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for 2022. Visit NBCnews.com/planyourvote today.
Our nation, unfortunately, has been rocked by gun violence this summer in places like an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, a 4th of July parade in Highland Park, Illinois. Well, 11 years ago, for Gabby Giffords, it was a supermarket parking lot in our hometown of Tucson, Arizona. The former Congresswoman's journey, spirit, and mission are all captured in a new documentary. It's called Gabby Giffords Won't Back Down. We're going to speak with Gabby live in just a moment, along with her husband, Senator Mark Kelly. But first, a look back on her remarkable story.
Thank you for inviting me here today.
Speaking is difficult, but I need to say something important.
This moment in Congress in 2013 would have been nearly unthinkable just 2 years prior.
I do believe Gabby Giffords was hit.
Good morning. Tragedy in Tucson. A congresswoman fights for life.
On January 8th, 2011, a gunman shot into a crowd at a local meet and greet with their congresswoman, Gabby Giffords, killing 6 and injuring 13, including Gabby, shot point blank in the head.
People are just so sad, so shocked, and they really don't want the rest of the country and the world to look at Tucson in this way.
It drew national attention to Tucson, Arizona, my hometown, and the president himself, who visited Gabby's hospital bedside.
A few minutes after we left her room and some of her colleagues from Congress were in the room, Gabby opened her eyes for the first time.
President Obama is now part of a new documentary on Gabby's life and road to recovery.
Gabby embodies this sense of the human spirit being able to overcome just about anything.
I couldn't walk. I couldn't talk. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gabby. Now I'm giving speeches again. Hello, my fellow Arizonans.
Through it all, Gabby has remained undaunted, fighting tirelessly for gun reform with her organization, Giffords. That same fearless spirit that led her to mark the 3rd anniversary of the shooting by jumping out of an airplane.
Did you hold on tight?
Not really.
The same gift of connection and the same indomitable spirit that I saw in her when she was first elected to Congress, that doesn't go away.
And former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords is with us this morning right here in studio, along with her husband, Senator Mark Kelly. Good morning to both of you. Before we talk about the documentary, I know you have a new grandbaby, Sage.
Sage, awesome. So smart.
Oh, so sweet.
Walking.
She's walking already.
Yes.
Do you love being grandparents?
It is. It's the best, I have to say. I mean, it's so much easier than being a parent.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, it's been some difficult days this summer. We've obviously been following the shooting in Uvalde, Texas, and what happened in Highland Park, in Buffalo, New York. The list goes on and on. But for you, Gabby, when you see these recent events, how does that strike you? How do you handle that?
So sad. So sad. Violence. No bueno.
No, not good at all. And Senator Kelly, I mean, you know, we're here mostly to talk about Gabby, but of course you're a sitting United States Senator from Arizona. Legislation was just passed. I mean, honestly, the first real gun reform legislation in 30 years. Senator Cornyn just said, the Republican who was part of these negotiations, said that's it, no more, probably not going to be anything further than this. Do you believe that?
Well, it's always important to win elections, but this legislation is going to save people's lives, and that's what really matters. And it was also good to do it in a bipartisan way. You know, I had some of the parents from Uvalde in my office on Tuesday of this week, and it's so tough, and it makes us so angry as a country. And to think that we can't do something about it, well, we can. And we just demonstrated that in Washington. Yeah, you know, Gabby, I'm sure you're watching these developments very closely. You're an advocate. You watch this legislation. What did you think about this gun reform?
Amazing. Increments.
Yes, incremental, but you were happy to see the progress.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's talk about the documentary. How did you like being the subject of a documentary and seeing all of that video?
Amazing. COVID was hard. Masks, Zoom, no hugs. But the crew was fantastic. Visiting my mom, speech therapy, bar mitzvah, riding a bike, a whole lot of singing.
There's a lot of singing in this documentary. We'll talk about that in the moment. You were bat mitzvahed. I know that you've been pursuing your Jewish faith. Your father was Jewish. And it's great you got to see your mom, Gloria. This documentary is so raw in some places, Mark. I mean, you look at it, this is footage that's never been seen before. Right. Days, moments. after her recovery. Why did you feel and why did she feel this is an important story to tell?
Well, I thought that at some point, I mean, after everything that happened to Gabby and how, horrific her injury was, and she's going to have to go through all this rehab, that sometime in the future she would want to take a look and remember it. And we've looked at that footage over the years, and when it was really tough when it was going on, but now, we can laugh about it.
Well, there are some parts that were not funny then, but when you watch them now, you've obviously worked so hard to be speaking as well as you are speaking today. There's footage from the video. There was one word, Gabby, that you kept saying. What was it? Well, maybe you said it so much you don't want to say it anymore.
Is it chicken?
Chicken.
Yes.
Chicken. A lot of chicken.
Yes.
1,000 times. If she said it once.
And it's so interesting how the brain works, because you had aphasia, which is this loss of speech, but then for some reason, words like that would pop in your mind. People are learning more about aphasia. Bruce Willis just talked about having that. What do you think about aphasia, Gabby?
COVID was hard. No. Yeah. COVID's
kind of sucks.
Mass Zoom, no.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a difficult, and challenging thing to overcome with a traumatic brain injury like that. Gabby talks all the time about how much this really kind of sucks.
Yes. Yeah, it's really hard. Well, I loved it. We both grew up in Tucson. We're the same age. You went to a different high school, but I loved that you love 80s music, and music was so important.
Yes.
You did a lot of singing in this documentary.
Almost Heaven,
West Virginia,
Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River.
I know, I love it. Country Road. She's got Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Right.
We could have danced at the Fine Line back then. We probably did in Tucson. Gabby, it's wonderful to see you doing so well. Thank you for being here. Really, the documentary is incredible, Senator. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Savannah.
Always happy to have you here. It's called Gabby Giffords Won't Back Down. It will be in select theaters starting tomorrow. All right, let's get a morning boost.
I got a fun one for you. All right, the dance cam at Tropicana Field helps the crowd pumped up during the Tampa Bay Rays baseball games. But get this, it's not just the fans who get their moment in the spotlight. We have a very talented and flexible security guard.
Oh, wow.
He electrifies the ballpark. He has somersaults, head spins,
The floss.
cartwheels. Take a look.
Why is he doing a cartwheel?
What?
Come on. Just take us through.
You know who needs to have him on?
Who?
Jimmy Fallon, because doesn't he do like a serious dance?
Yes.
I saw a cabbage patch, I saw a twerk, a floss.
And that double leg split's his signature. That's the signature move. And since he's a security guard there, he can't go to the All-Star game because he's at that field. But anyway, he's got many things in store for his future.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Allie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
Today is Now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate it.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, It's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Yamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Now to our series, Style Me Over, and we asked you to tell us your gray hair journeys and why you could use a hair makeover.
Okay, but we're about to embracing gray, not erasing it, and we picked 3 lovely ladies who were treated to a new look courtesy of celebrity hairstylist Chris Appleton, whose clients include, of course, Kim Kardashian and J-Lo.
You were great in the movie Halftime.
Oh, you saw it?
It was kind of your movie, and J-Lo had a bit part. But anyway, it was really good. Okay, our first viewer is Kristen Keene. Let's see why she says she needs a new hairstyle.
Hi, I'm Kristen, and I've been embracing my natural highlights since November of last year. I typically wear my hair in a headband or in a bun so I can hide the line of demarcation that I have. It's pretty obvious at this point in my journey. So I was really hoping that they would be able to blend my color so I can continue to grow it out, but also I won't be embarrassed to wear it down.
Kristen is beautiful.
And by the way, she's so zen. I'm getting such a zen vibe. All right,
She was so relaxed.
Here's Kristen's look one more time before. All right, Kristen, let's see the new you.
Sit at the red carpet. Give us a switch. I know.
Yeah, it's like blondie gray. Tell us about the look.
So this was the full hog. I'm going to show you 3 different variations on going grey. Grey's trending. It's definitely, it used to be like the grandma grey. People were afraid of it. But now, you know, Jane Fonda, people are embracing the grey. And it's hot and it can actually be quite youthful. So we went full hog here and we actually took out all of the old colour. There's 3 ways of doing it. You can either stick it out and grow your roots out. You can blend it, which we're going to talk about later. But for this, we went full hog. So we took all of that dark out of the hair. And then basically went for a much lighter base. So the grey kind of just blends in.
How do you feel? That's really
I absolutely love it. I feel like a new woman.
Do you feel
by the way, you're so zen.
Have more fun?
Well,
She's about to find out.
I'm about to.
She's about to find out. For anyone thinking about doing this at home, though, guys, I have to emphasize this really is more of the professional job. I'm going to show you more home jobs next, but this is more of a go in the salon. You've got to talk about cutting the hair. You're bleaching the hair. We just had a chat about bleaching hair and Kim being blonde. It's a process, and like you know, not to mess around with it. So if you're going to do it, you've got to do that in the salon. Absolutely.
Imagine you don't have to go get your roots colored all the time. You're free.
You look gorgeous, Kristen.
All right, thanks, Kristen.
And coming up next, we have Mary Hartman. Okay, let's see what she says about her current hairstyle.
Hi, my name's Mary, and I'm ready for a color change. I recently got some highlights in my hair trying to help blend the grays as I was growing them out, but I think I went a little too far and they've gotten too yellow and kind of taken over my hair and actually take away from my silvers, which I've grown to like. And I think I'm ready to make the jump and let the silvers come out.
Awesome. All right, so let's see Mary before. All right. And can we bring out Mary? Mary!
Oh, I like that.
Chic. So listen, I think a lot of women relate to this yellowing of colour, especially with the grey hair can tend to go yellow. The main reason for this is honestly the water. So we wash the hair in every day. It contains minerals, it contains salts, and it stains the hair. So basically it gives it that yellow tone.
Oh, really?
It's funny when we were watching that segment, Hoda's going, I know about that yellow. I know about that yellow.
I mean, my hair is orange. I don't know what happened.
So what we did is we basically lightened the hair. We added highlights and lowlights to give it more of a natural effect so she can really we didn't go full hog. We just kind of basically embraced it and got rid of the line of demarcation and enhanced it. So this is something you can go into the salon to do, but you can also do it at home by just doing a low lighting kit.
Well, it looks gorgeous.
Mary, how do you feel?
Thank you. I love it. I love it. It feels so good.
And the cut is cool.
Yeah, the cut
is awesome.
We gave her a little je ne sais quoi. We said, let's just cut some of the, cut away the years and give her a little fresh new look.
Awesome. All right, let's finally, let's see. We've got Jackie Lee. Let's see where Jackie is in her gray journey.
I'm Jackie, and I've been dye-free, color-free for at least 5 years, and I love embracing my naturally gray hair. I've been growing my hair out from a short red bob for about 10 years now, and I would love to have some styling done to frame my face more, so I'm really excited to have Chris work his magic on me.
Oh, really? I love it.
All right.
right.
Just trying to convince soda and to go grey. Definite no.
Here is Jackie's hair. What's what it look like one more time?
Gorgeous.
Beautiful.
All right.
Come on, Jackie. Look at her. Jackie's giving you. Jackie's giving diva curls.
Your hair is incredible.
Look at this hair, guys. It's insane.
What are you talking about? So this is natural.
Jackie wears her hair back in a bun all the time. Why? Never wear it back again. She's got the most gorgeous hair, and what we did is basically just embrace the grey. And me and Jackie were speaking about basically how to make grey hair at home look good, not look yellow, not look flat, and not look dull. Because a lot of the times, a lot of people with grey hair feel like it looks coarse, it looks dry.
Yes.
So what we talked about is conditioning mask and also products that you can use at home that pull out all of those metallic salts that are in water and give you that nice, beautiful spot.
Products on her, that's it?
Literally to give the hair lift and sparkle and remove all the residue.
Beautiful. Let's bring everybody out. Can we come see our lovely ladies? And we want to give a thanks, don't we?
Yeah, to Sally Hirschberger Salon for hosting Chris and our lovely ladies.
You all look so beautiful.
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
The midterms are here. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about for the primary or general election, and you'll instantly get voting rules, see the next big deadline, and learn how to take action for your plan. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for 2022. Visit NBCNews.com/planyourvote today.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
That was a great show. Should we go gray? No. Okay. No. Anyway, join us tomorrow. Lizzo is going to be on our plaza.
It's going to be a great way to close out the week. We'll see you then.
Sponsored by Walmart.
What up, y'all? Welcome to the Today All Day Kitchen.
Pasta is a staple for so many weeknight meals. It's easy to make, pretty hard to screw up, and oh so satisfying. I'm making pillowy soft ricotta gnocchi with peas and parm in a buttery sauce.
And I'm cooking up a creamy chicken stroganoff with baby bella mushrooms.
And I'm whipping up a spicy vegan pasta alla vodka. So start boiling some water.
It's time to use that noodle.
And let's get cooking.
You can shop the ingredients featured here from our sponsor, Walmart, by scanning the QR code. Today earns a commission from purchases made through links on today.com.
I have to admit, pasta is one of my go-to comfort foods, so I am very excited to share this recipe with you. The first thing we want to do is take our gorgeous ricotta and actually lay it out in a thin layer on paper towels. Since the ricotta is the base of our dough, we need to remove some of that moisture so it ends up really nice and light and fluffy rather than dense. We are going to let this sit for about 12 to 15 minutes just to make sure that the paper towel absorbs that moisture, but lucky for me, I made one before. And here is how it ends up looking when it is done. Stunning. Okay, so now let's just make our dough. We have our ricotta right here. Plop it right on in. So we have 2 large eggs here. I'm going to crack them right into our bowl. 1 cup of finely grated Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. and some kosher salt, just to awaken the flavor. Before we add in our flour, we are going to delicately mix it all together so it creates a really light, fluffy consistency. So now that this is looking really beautifully mixed together, that is when we know it is time to start adding in our flour. It's really important here to add your flour in a 1/4 cup at a time because we don't want to develop too much gluten, but we also want to make sure that our ricotta stays nice and fluffy. I'm just going to delicately mix it until there are no more big bits of flour, and we'll just keep mixing. Our final 1/4 cup. There we go, looking good. Now it is time to shape our gnocchi. And then we're going to take our dough mixture, kind of form it into a bit of a, it feels so good. It feels like a baby's bottom. Can we use that in the final cut? It's what it feels like. Okay, and now we're going to dust the top with a bit more flour. And this is my favorite tool whenever I'm making pasta, also whenever I'm cooking to easily pick things up. It is called a bench scraper. It's typically used for decorating cakes, making sure you have a nice smooth line of frosting around your cake, but it does such a good job of picking things up, and it also does a great job of cutting things really evenly. And we are going to cut this into quarters. And the next thing we're going to do is we are going to roll this out into a beautiful snake that is about 1 inch thick. It feels so nice, so soft. I like to cut off the end first, just because this end, it doesn't look as nice. And then what I'll do is I will just keep cutting little 1 inch pieces of pasta. And look at that. They look like little pillows, don't they? Look at how beautiful this is looking. And what we're going to do is we'll take that same bench scraper that we have, lift them up, and transfer them to a parchment-lined baking sheet. All right, and we're just going to repeat this with our remaining pieces of gnocchi dough. Looking good. Before we cook our gnocchi, I want to get started on the star of our sauce. This is a lemon butter sauce, so we are going to be using the zest and juice of 2 gorgeous lemons. And I'm going to show you my favorite way to prepare lemon zest. So we're just going to take the peeler and run it along lengthwise on this lemon, pulling the zest off of the lemon. So I'm just gonna remove any of this extra pith. And the reason why I'm removing this pith is because the pith is a bit bitter and we don't want any of that bitterness. And as you can see, I've stacked up all of this lemon into cute little, almost soldiers, if you will. Take your knife and rock it back and forth along that peel. It smells amazing. And you can see how beautiful these strips are. And then what we'll do is we'll take these shreds and turn them, and then we will run our knife across again to mince that lemon. And it took me a while to master these skills, let me tell you. It really all comes down to practicing over and over and over again. It's really repetition here. And now I'm just gonna take my knife and run through this a few more times. It's smelling absolutely amazing. Look at that zest though. I mean, it's like freshly fallen snow. Okay, let's clean up, get our water a-boiling, and finish up this gnocchi. Our water is boiling. It is time to cook our gnocchi, and you gotta pay attention because this all happens pretty quickly. But I promise you, you have all of the tools to absolutely crush it. The first thing we want to do is salt our water. I'm taking kosher salt. Okay, this is boiling beautifully, and we can use our fingers to plop these in, because let me tell you, they are light and pillowy, and dropping them all in at once is going to cause them to smush together. We want these to cook until they float to the top, okay? They basically tell us, they're like, hey, what's up? And then to save some time, we are actually going to take our frozen peas and we're gonna pop those in as well. So this pasta water is liquid gold. I call it unicorn juice whenever I'm cooking because all of the starch in the water itself is actually going to help bind our sauce together. And we're going to start adding in our cubed unsalted butter, a couple tablespoons at a time. You really want it to be cold butter because our goal here is to really emulsify everything. Take a whisk. Start whisking everything up. The gnocchi's starting to float. And now we are ready to bring our sauce and our gnocchi together. I've actually turned off the heat. If it is too hot, it may cause your sauce to break. So just make sure you turn that heat off. Next up, we're going to add in half of our lemon zest. How good does this look? Okay, next up, we are going to slowly add in our parm. Keep on mixing it back and forth so that it melts in a nice, even fashion. It is smelling so good. And as you can see, it is really looking super glossy. And it is tasting delish. So add in the lemon juice a little bit at a time. Again, we want to emulsify this in. We don't want to freak out the gorgeous sauce that we just worked so hard to build. It is coating all of those beautiful pillows of gnocchi. And now it is time to plate it up. Oh my gosh, you guys, how gorgeous does this look? Okay, a little extra parm, some freshly ground black pepper, and then I'll take a little bit of fresh mint, a little drizzle of olive oil, gives the pasta gorgeous sheen, and there you go, homemade ricotta gnocchi in a lemon butter sauce with peas and mint. I'm so excited to try this. It is melting in my mouth. The parm adds the perfect amount of nuttiness and saltiness. I don't have any other words to say except I know you're gonna love this. So good.
The midterms are here. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about for the primary or general election, and you'll instantly get voting rules, see the next big deadline, and learn how to take action for your plan. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for 2022. Visit NBCNews.com/planyourvote today.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Uvalde, Texas, a small town that has become yet another landmark.
How long do you think it took for all this damage to occur? Can you tell us what it was like?
With our NBC News exclusive.
Women's basketball has been systematically held back. After 49 years of Title IX, we still have work to do.
In Their Court, a podcast from NBC News and NBC Sports that goes inside the issues of inequality in women's sports. Listen now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
When you hear stroganoff, you're probably thinking beef, but this creamy comfort food pairs incredibly well with chicken. But the best part about this dish is that it all comes together in one pot. Less mess is always a win in my kitchen. All right, so first what we're gonna do is we're gonna make our dry rub. I like to use a little bit of smoked paprika. You can use the regular paprika too, but I think smoked flavors just bring a lot more body to your recipes. And then a little bit of dried thyme, and then a little bit of garlic powder. Give that a good swish. All right, now let's move on to our chicken breast. Now I've just got some lean, skinless chicken breasts, and I'm not sure about you, but I like to cut mine up into smaller pieces. The reason why, it's gonna cook a lot faster. All right, y'all, let's add this to our bowl. Get your hands all up in there. Don't be scared to get your hands dirty. I'm gonna just rinse off the cutting board and wash our knives so we can prep the mushrooms. Okay, now I'm gonna be using some baby bella mushrooms. I think they're super delicious. I'm just gonna slice this into small slices just like this. So I've got a ton of mushrooms here, and you're probably thinking, yo, Kev, that's not gonna fit in my pan. Don't worry, mushrooms are kind of like spinach. Once you start cooking them and add some heat to them, they shrivel up really, really small. So they will fit, I promise you that. Our mushrooms are cut up. I'm gonna set these aside, and now we're gonna fire up our pan and get cooking. All right, we're gonna place this on a medium high heat. Okay, with it nice and hot, in goes the oil. This is a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of heart health, a little sprinkle of that. Then I like to grab some tongs, and in goes our chicken. Ooh, I love that sizzle sound. We want a nice sear, a nice color on the chicken. There we go. You're gonna wanna cook this for about 4 to 5 minutes on each side, and then look at this. Oh, just lift it up, and look at that beautiful color on the chicken. Move it around a little bit. If you're feeling brave, you can go ahead and toss it, but again, this is a no mess recipe, so the least amount of mess you can make in your kitchen, the better. This chicken is just about ready. I'm gonna move my mushrooms a little bit closer, and then I'm gonna use my tongs. I'm gonna start taking out the pieces of chicken. Oh my God, look at that. It's just looking so good. Kev, you did that. If you're not your best cheerleader in the kitchen, I don't know what you're doing. You gotta just give yourself a pat on the back. It smells so good, it looks so good. Exactly what we want. I set this over here. Now, I'm gonna add in the mushrooms now. Now, there's a lot of chicken flavor here already, so we want that. Oh, we've got a good sear here. I'm just gonna wilt them just a little bit by using a little bit of our chicken broth. Just a little bit, just to create some steam. And also, this is gonna help to deglaze the bottom of our skillet as well. I'm gonna get my Salt Bae on. Give me a little pinch of salt, just a little bit. Boom. And the cool thing about mushrooms is that as they're shrinking up too, you know, they're just soaking up all this flavor. So people that say, I don't like mushrooms, I'm like, yo man, mushrooms are like flavor bombs. They make your mouth water. It's that umami factor. More love to mushrooms this year. Now we're gonna try to create a little bit of a thick gravy here. We're gonna add in a little bit of flour. I'm gonna give this a quick toss first. Then we're gonna add in about a cup of our chicken broth. And what you'll see here, you're gonna still deglaze, but you see now the chicken broth is really cloudy, and that's because it's turning into that gravy that we want. I'm also gonna add in a little bit of Dijon. And just keep stirring, And this is looking beautiful. All right, now let's begin to bring everything together. In goes our chicken broth. Reserve some, then grab yourself the egg noodles, sprinkle those on, and then pour in the rest of that broth. And the noodles are going to absorb all of this liquid that's now like a gravy. So we're gonna bring it to a light simmer, and you can see right here inside, got the little light simmer going. That's just about right. And then we're gonna cover and cook this for about 7 minutes. Oh my gosh, I stirred these once. Oof, they are looking good. Always check your noodles. And if you're thinking like, Kev, it's looking a little watery, what am I gonna do? Don't worry, I got you. Remember that it's gonna thicken up as it cools, but also it's gonna thicken up because we're going to add in our Greek yogurt now. Greek yogurt is really high in protein, and it's really, really, really thick. And look at this. It looks like I added cheese, but I have not at all. And this is our swap for sour cream. Last bit of work, we're gonna add in our chicken. Well, you can't be here to smell it, but I'm just gonna describe it. We need that smell-o-vision from Willy Wonka. So I'm gonna plate it right here and finish it off with some fresh parsley. You like smothered chicken? Try this chicken stroganoff. You're seeing it first here today, and then today, All Day Kitchen. I'm just gonna hit it with some fresh black pepper. Ooh, look at that. I don't know about y'all, but I'm excited about eating. Here we go. Get a little bit of mushroom, a little bit of egg noodle, and then some of this succulent, lean chicken breast. Oh my God. Yeah, this will make you get happy in church. Ooh, there you go. I guarantee your friends and family are going to love this dish.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tanya Tucker, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tanya Tucker, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
I grew up on Staten Island, so I can't even tell you how many pasta dishes I've eaten over the years. One of my absolute favorites is penne alla vodka. So today, I'm giving that beautiful pink sauce a vegan makeover. And I'm putting a little twist on that penne too. Let's get started with the crunchy breadcrumb topping. So first, I'm gonna get a small skillet over medium-low heat, and we're gonna add in a little bit of olive oil. So for our breadcrumbs, we're gonna use panko breadcrumbs. I love using panko because it's extra crunchy and it's plain, so we can add anything to it and really manipulate those flavors. And the way we're gonna do that is by adding some red chili flakes because we want this spicy, and a little bit of nutmeg to really round out those flavors and add that earthy component. A little bit of kosher salt, and a little bit of freshly ground black pepper. And we're gonna cook this over medium-low until it gets a nice golden brown color. So we're essentially just toasting it in the pan. This usually takes about 5 minutes to get nice and golden and crispy. This is a test. If it loosely moves in the pan, that means it's ready. So to start off any good sauce, you have to start off with your aromatics. We're gonna start with 1 medium white onion and some garlic. So we just wanna get a small dice on this. And next up, garlic. We're using about 4 cloves of garlic. I just like to give them a light crush to help me with the chopping process. Another great way to prep all of this is actually just blitzing it up in a food processor. Just putting it on chop and giving it a few pulses and it'll all be roughly chopped. So you want to start off with a really large pan and get it over medium-high heat. To this, we're going to add a layer of olive oil. And we're also going to add in 1 tablespoon of vegan butter. Traditional vodka sauce is so indulgent and creamy, so we're gonna add a few vegan options to help bring that creaminess to the sauce. So now that our oil is hot and the butter is sizzling, let's go in with our onion and garlic. You also wanna get some salt in at this point because that's gonna help the onions sweat out all of their moisture. Now, I said this was spicy vodka sauce, so now come in our spicy elements. We're gonna add some red chili flakes, but let's not stop there. We're gonna add in one of my favorite chili peppers, Calabrian chilies. And I just so happen to be wearing chili earrings to celebrate the occasion. So we wanna cook these for about 5 minutes until the onions are sweating and almost translucent. So now let's go in with our tomato paste. The tomato paste is gonna add basically a really concentrated tomato flavor. So it's gonna feel like we've been cooking this sauce all day, but really we haven't been. So get this incorporated into the onions. So the star of the show, some vodka. No, this is not a shot for me. This is for the pasta. Maybe that'll be later. So once we add the vodka in, all of that alcohol is gonna evaporate, so you don't have to worry about any alcohol actually being in there, but the flavor of the vodka will become concentrated, which is what adds that unique flavor to vodka sauce, which I happen to love. We're gonna go in with some crushed tomatoes. We're gonna go in with a little sugar. Now, don't hate on this. This is really gonna help balance the flavors again. There's a lot of acidity in the tomatoes, and then we also have a lot of spice, so the sugar is gonna help round everything out. As well as some dried oregano. So I actually like to take this and rub it in between my fingers to get the oils in the oregano activated. We want our spicy vodka sauce to be smooth and silky, and in order to achieve that, we're gonna use an immersion blender. This looks great. Look how vibrant that is. It really is starting to look like vodka sauce. So now we're gonna add a few dairy elements to our sauce. We're gonna add a little bit of vegan creamer, as well as some vegan cream cheese. So you wanna make sure to incorporate all of that in, and you can see the color is this beautiful light orange vodka sauce color. We're gonna add in 1 whole sprig of fresh basil, right in, and we're gonna let that simmer with the sauce. Okay, let's check in our pasta water. Oh, it's boiling. Before we do anything, we always wanna salt our pasta water. And now for our pasta. I just wanna show you guys how fun this is. So this is called a Colony Pompeii. I think Colony means column, and Pompeii is obviously a city in Italy. But to me, it's just a beautiful large fusilli, and it looks delicious to eat. So we're gonna get these in. This pasta is so big, it takes about 10 or 12 minutes to cook. So I'm gonna start cleaning up and get everything out of the way and get ready to plate.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
The midterms are here. It's time to plan your vote. We'll provide everything you need to know to successfully cast your ballot. Just select any state you want to learn about for the primary or general election, and you'll instantly get voting rules, see the next big deadline, and learn how to take action for your plan. Voting rules have changed since 2020, and those rules vary from state to state. So it's time to get planning for 2022. Visit NBCnews.com/planyourvote today.
Our pasta looks ready, so let's add it into our vodka sauce. Beautiful. This is so fun. Look at these swirls. And this is liquid gold. This is our starchy, salted water. So we're actually gonna add a little ladle into our pasta to make it even silkier. You wanna make sure to gently combine this with the sauce because we don't wanna break up our beautiful giant swirls of pasta. Look how fun this looks. I'm so excited to eat it, but we can't forget about our spicy, crunchy breadcrumb topping. So it's now completely cooled, so we can just use our hands to garnish it as if we were garnishing it with Parmesan. And then if we want to be extra fancy, we can add a little sprig of fresh basil. Okay, I've waited long enough, so we're now ready to dig in. I'm so excited to eat this shape. I feel like the proper way is from the bottom. Wow, I think Staten Island would be proud. This is so delicious and so fun. Look at that. Chef's kiss. This is delicious.
Good morning. The expensive states of America. Inflation now the worst it's been since 1981.
Prices for almost everything in the month of June went up.
Americans now paying more for food, gas, housing, and pretty much everything on store shelves.